You love Michigan sports. Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Michigan State, and the list goes on. And you love beer. Who doesn't? What if we mixed the two together? This is State of My Sports. We'll talk everything Michigan sports, like only we do, and then we'll down our fair share of beer from a local brewery, grading the beer throughout the episode. So pop a cold one on your end, and we'll get busy on ours. This is the State of My Sports.
That's right, everyone. This is State of My Sports, and this is episode 138. Little technical difficulties here, so we're kind of just going through it with the live at least. Hopefully people are on there and ready to be part of the conversation. Episode 138, we are here to talk about Detroit Lions' loss to the Falcons and kind of how it's kind of setting up pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I'm not too mad about it, but I think Dan Campbell setting the foundation is the key, and that's one thing that we're continuing to see, win or loss right now. They're setting themselves up pretty well here. We'll get into that. We'll also preview MSU's Peach Bowl matchup against Pitt and Michigan's playoff matchup against Georgia. At the end, we will make our betting hero picks of the week and grade our Siciliano's Market Michigan beers. If you're joining us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, please let us know and be part of the conversation the best you can. Be in the comments. We're going to try to get those up and running here shortly. Before we jump in, I did want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors that help keep this thing rolling and free for our listeners. The Hops Brewing Company and Cafe is the official brewery of State of My Sports. Siciliano's Market helps us pick out the best craft beer from the state of Michigan. Mac Web Design helped us get our website up and running. And Betting Hero helps you and us, you and I, you and us and you. I don't know. Doesn't matter. We get the best promos available in the sports betting world. I actually have a pretty big bet going on right now. Now that I think about it, I forgot to put it on alerts so I can keep tabs on it. We basically have this parlay going, and all I need is Mississippi State to win. As long as they win, I win like $115 on a $15 bet. So,
really?
$140. $140 on a $15 bet. I was pretty excited about that one. I did.
Who do you need? Mississippi State?
Mississippi State against Texas Tech. Last I saw, they were down 7 at half, I think.
Okay.
So
not bad.
I gotta keep an eye on that one.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance. I was gonna do some like live betting and stuff to kind of hedge my bet, but I just got distracted with the podcast and things get, you know how I am with the podcast. It just stresses me out and all that good stuff. But,
for good reason too.
Yeah. There's a lot of crap going on right now, but we're working through it. We are, and we just wanted to get this thing rolling. If you guys are on, they're down 20-7 now. Oh boy, that really sucks. Sorry.
Yeah, too bad.
We're going to get the comments up and running here shortly. Actually, we already are. So, Ryan, you're monitoring the Facebook comments. I'll monitor YouTube, and if there's other comments elsewhere.
Somebody said first to comment, but
who was that?
I know who that was, so we're not gonna
Jarrett or
no,
Carrie?
It was me.
It was you.
Yeah.
Oh, first to comment.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I'm just getting it started, you know?
Love it, man. You've been liking stuff on Instagram lately, and you're just turning over a new leaf with
all this time, you know,
social
all this
media
time
work that you're
to
doing.
Myself, like not at work. I'm doing work.
Exactly. Well,
doing real work.
It's just us today. It is.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be good. I think one of our phones picking up a little bit of feedback here.
Yeah, it might be mine.
But anyways, we're ready to rock this thing. Did you see the breaking news like before we even started here?
About Dax?
John Madden.
Oh, John Madden. I did see that.
That's too bad.
Holy cow.
Just died randomly. They say it was what they say? It was unexpected is what I heard, and I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, it's what I read too.
I'm like, there were times in the last couple of years that I was wondering if he was still alive to begin with.
I didn't know that either. Actually, just recently, because I think there's something coming out, right?
So the documentary came out on Fox on Christmas Day.
Yeah, Christmas
I didn't
Day.
See it, though.
John Madden, and then it's about his life, and that's when I realized, when I saw that was coming out, I realized that he was still alive. I had kind of thought he died.
Yeah, I did too.
Which, I mean,
kind of MIA.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly, and for good reason. You know, he's just trying to live his life, and end of his years.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite Madden video game? Did you get Madden video games growing up?
Actually, for Christmas, Ari just got a Madden.
Did he?
Madden 21.
Okay.
Have
you been ripping it up?
Oh yeah, he's been playing. Yeah, I beat him. I crushed him the first game just because he's a kid. I got to make sure he doesn't get too big of a head.
Yeah, and now he's gonna be playing it constantly. So
he beat
you.
me. He beat me the second time.
Did he really? So he started.
I was not happy. In fact, I didn't even finish the game. It was like 35 seconds
left.
Mid-game? I didn't quit the game, but
no,
I didn't quit the game. I just said, hey, all right, like the girls needed something, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go help the girls.
Yeah,
I totally could have and should have probably finished, but I was frustrated, man.
Back in the day,
the third pick I threw.
It was so much easier to quit because you could just bump it.
Yeah.
Like accidentally bump the system or throw the controller at it so bumps it and freezes.
Yep.
Then that's an easy way to quit. But now you can't do that because it costs so stinking much. I'm not going to throw anything at it. I'm like, no, be very careful of that.
It's hard to hit it when you have a shelter basically protecting that thing at all times because it's so expensive.
I remember when they first came out with training camp. With that whole section, and the hit stick and then truck stick.
Yeah.
Man, that was such a fun. I mean, it was easy to just dominate when you could get the right guys. I don't remember who was. I think it was Jamal Williams or Jamal. Who was the Ravens running back? Was it Jamal Lewis?
Yeah.
Remember him?
Yeah, Jamal Lewis.
He was on the cover and just dominant player.
Yeah, in 2005, 2006.
Something like that. Yeah, it sounds right.
So my favorite Madden. I think it was Madden 97 for Sega Saturn.
Okay.
Sega Saturn. Barry Sanders was one of the best players in it, and that was back when the defense was always faster than the offense, no matter what. You couldn't break away, and just there was no extra speed option or anything like that, like a sprint button. So what you had to do is you had to run straight up, and then you had to they would chase you. Everybody would chase you in a straight line, and you'd have to go around, and they would chase you around in a circle, and you'd have to do that all the way up the field. And a 99-yard play was literally impossible, except for the one perfect time I pulled it off.
Yeah, only Barry. Well, not even Barry Sanders, but it was probably Deion Sanders,
it was
something like that.
Yeah, exactly. It was Deion
random.
or Rocket. Remember that dude, Rocket? Somebody from the Raiders.
No,
wide receiver. He's the fastest guy in the game. He's 99 speed. Incredible. Yeah.
And then when Michael Vick was in it, I forget what year he was on the cover, but man, when he was, that was a cheat code basically.
Oh yeah.
You could put him in and just dominate.
It didn't matter what option, because you can hurdle or jump or whatever or juke left, right, back, whatever he did, it was perfect.
Yeah, I had Game Day 97. Remember Game Day? That was the other football one?
Yeah.
So it was Game Day 97, and then I think my very first Madden was Madden 99. And then I had every single one up until probably 2014 or 2015.
Every single one?
I would buy it every year or get it for Christmas. That's what I got for Christmas from Grandma. Pretty much every I would get NHL from my parents, and Grandma would get me Madden. I would play those games so much.
Nice.
And then I stopped doing it when I got married because I didn't had kids. I mean, $60 a game.
That's too much.
Yeah. I don't have that kind of money anymore.
Well, that's not your entire life.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta buy food now.
I bought it for a few times, and then I think I played them 4 times.
Yeah.
I'm this was such a waste of money, and I just grew out of it. I guess.
Is there a way for us to play against each other without paying for
the online? Probably
services?
not. I mean, you could come over, or I could go to your house.
That's a walk.
That is a walk. The traffic can get really bad.
It's not a long walk. I'm just saying
it's
there
slippery.
is a walk involved. Yeah.
It could get slippery. Someone could get hurt. I don't think it's worth the risk.
Yeah, probably not.
No, we really should do. I don't know why we don't do that.
Yeah, I don't know.
That is kind of silly.
Yeah, we don't.
But would you play? So Madden 21.
Madden 21. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I mean, the lines are way better in the game than they are now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stafford's on the team, and I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously DeAndre Swift, Hawkinson,
Marvin Jones, Galladay,
yeah, and Galladay's got superstar status, which I thought was funny because he leaves, he goes to the Giants, and he sucks again. But anyways.
Marvin Jones hasn't had that good of a year.
No,
either.
He hasn't. Yeah,
it's been crazy. Some of the best Lions players have left, and it's they really didn't do a lot. So
I'm telling you, man, Stafford made those guys look really good.
He did. I agree.
He threw them open.
I think we're learning that a lot. Not that Stafford doesn't have stars to work with, but I think what Cooper Kupp's doing is a lot more. It's a lot of Stafford too.
Well, absolutely, but it's also one of those things where, a wide receiver is only as good as his quarterback, and a quarterback's only as good as his wide receivers.
That's true.
It's got to be a mutual relationship, and I don't know. It never ends up being that way. Like, Justin Jefferson gets a ton of praise, and I think he's amazing. He's absolutely incredible. But, Kirk Cousins does, he's the one throwing it to him. Mm. So he's got to get the timing right and all the other stuff. So they've got a good thing going, even though that, Kirk Cousins doesn't get a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Jefferson gets all the credit, but it's got to be shared,
Quarterbacks get credit for wins.
Yeah.
And get killed for losses, and then wide receivers get all the credit for the stats. And like quarterbacks, it's just, you're just padding your stats. Or, of course, you did good when you're throwing to Calvin Johnson, which, don't get me wrong, you're throwing to Calvin Johnson, it makes it easy.
Well, and even, actually a really good example, and we'll get into it probably later, but Amon-Ra St. Brown started the year, and everybody was really frustrated with him not being a part of this offense, or actually not being good. That's what people were frustrated with.
That's true.
And he just ran those simple, little tiny 2 to 3 yard routes all the time. And they were mad. People were mad when he was getting a 3 yard gain. It's like, what are they having him run? That's the only thing he's doing. They're not letting him do anything. Now you're seeing him come into his own where he's getting these 15, 20 yard plus, touchdown type of opportunities on the field, and he's taking advantage of it. And now we're seeing how good he is. And now his quarterback knows. But that's where it's not only teamwork with your quarterback, but it's also offensive coordinator, game plan, all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll definitely get in some lines talk here shortly. But let's jump into our beer introductions. I'm sorry. One of the issues we're having today is I broke a cord. Another cord's not working. So we don't have any drops. We don't have any reeds.
Started bending stuff.
And then I broke it. Yeah, it was brutal. Who knew I had that strength? But I need to buy a $7 cord before next week. Just hold me to that, all right?
I think we need to test out your iPad. I might have to give you something instead of this thing.
Instead of I don't know what else. I guess I could put it on my phone. I could do the same thing that I did here and do it right on my phone.
Yeah. I mean, I've got one of those other tablet type of things.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
I could easily download that. I mean,
I've never used it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A tablet? A full tablet? You have a full tablet that you've never used?
Yeah.
Really?
I think it's in my drawer at work. Yeah.
Man.
I think. I'm not even sure where it is.
Well, first world problems, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding.
Jeez, I used to feel bad for you. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, let's grade our Siciliano's Michigan beers. This is actually.
We're not going to grade them. Let's introduce them.
Let's introduce them, and I'm not even going to do the read. It's not worth it. It is worth it, but I have sad news. This was going to be their last podcast that they were sponsoring for the foreseeable future. I'm going to see if we can get back in there, but. The contract expired at the first of the year. So this is their last episode as a sponsor of State of My Sports. So thank you, Siciliano's Market, for being part of the State of My Sports family like you were.
Yep.
We'd really like to get things rolling again. If there's any other beer distributors, store type things that want to hop on board, we're open to some ideas. So
yeah, come find us.
And actually, I'm going to be finding you. Trust me. I'm going to be pushing the papers around.
No, it doesn't change the way we feel about Siciliano's, right? They're awesome.
Not at all.
They're local. We love them.
We'll still be buying our beer from them.
Yeah, we'll still go there.
We're still going to go there, pick out our beer until we have a sponsor that tells us not to.
There you go.
Yes, right?
You've been warned.
Hop on board, share it with your friends, and tell them that. Tell Siciliano, if you go to Siciliano's and tell them that they should really re-up with State of My Sports podcast. Do that. Because that was one of the reasons it is not enough of our listeners were giving us credit for hearing about it. And
right.
Look, that's the only way you can measure it. Yeah, it's the listener's fault. That's the only way that these sponsors can measure is if you go in and tell them that you heard about them on State of My Sports. I mean, and that goes with all of our sponsors. Just let them know. Just a simple message would mean a lot for us.
That's my fault, too. Like, I'd go in there and buy all kinds of stuff, and I never brought up State of My Sports.
They didn't even know you're on the podcast.
No, they don't even know.
Like, wait a second. No, I don't know who you are. So, yeah. No, but anyways, let's introduce our Michigan beers today.
Sure. I'm drinking Eddie Van Hazy from Rockford Brewing Company. I like what they say on their can. They say, might as well jump onto this West Coast Hazy IPA. It ain't the worst thing you've ever seen. So kind of like that. 5.6% alcohol. If I find anything else on it, I'll give it to you.
Sounds good. I'm drinking from Witch's Hat Brewing Company, which is in South Lyon, Michigan. It is their Diesel Lord? How do you say that?
What, detoured?
Oh, is it detoured?
Deflowered?
Deflowered.
It's
oh,
deflowered.
That's inappropriate.
Yeah.
Do we still have do we have to put an E on this now? Usually we don't. I mean, all right, so it's called Deflowered, and it is a hazy IPA. This is how they describe it. They said, what you have here is a super delicious. I'll be the judge of that, I will be the judge of that. You don't tell me if it's super delicious.
Right. You got to give a grade.
It's my time to give it a grade. Hazy and juicy IPA brewed with the following hops. Yep, so many hops, it says. Barley, you know it.
Okay.
Oats, faux show.
Yep.
Wheat, a little bit. Love, lots. Flour, blank no. Man, this is a dark place.
Man,
I don't know how I feel about this. I might not drink these again. This is single-handedly turning us into a
just speak over it now.
explicit podcast. But anyways, that's what I'm drinking.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped to be drinking something out of Rockford. Rockford Brewing Company.
Rockford's good. I like their beer.
Yeah, I don't think I've graded anything on the podcast from them. Yeah, so I'm pumped about that.
Mind we got to get a picture of your next pour. Hopefully it's better than the last one.
Oh, yeah, let's not do that.
You're listening to the State of My Sports.
Wait, hold on. Do you want me to put one of these?
You love sports like a fat kid loves cake.
Kid and cake? Okay, hold on.
If it's craft beer in Michigan
That was
sports,
way off.
we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake.
There you go.
This is State of My Sports.
We're going to get into some Detroit Lions talk. They lost. They're back in the losing streak here.
There we go,
to the
fellas.
Atlanta Falcons, 20-16, behind another good defensive game plan by Aaron Glenn and execution by the shorthanded Lions defense. Atlanta is not an explosive offense by any means, but it feels like week in and week out, the Lions defense makes every inch difficult for their opponent. I feel like I wrote this really well. Did I?
Yeah,
you
did. You did a good job.
And it felt like that again against a veteran quarterback that has the ability to pick any defense apart. The Falcons were held to only 47 yards rushing and 207 yards passing, winning the time of possession battle 38 minutes and 5 seconds to 21 minutes and 55 seconds.
Wow.
That was the Lions winning that. That's impressive in and of itself.
Yeah.
With Goff out due to COVID, Tim Boyle stepped in, played pretty solid game, going 24 of 34 for 187 yards, a touchdown to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and an interception late in the game that kind of sealed the loss there for the Lions. St. Brown had 9 catches and 91 more yards to go with his TD.
Man, he crushed it.
And Jamal Williams was the lead back with 19 carries for 77 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown, we brought him up in the intro. This dude's really starting to figure it out.
He's good, man.
And to put up the numbers he had, like, somebody has to put up numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's more than that. He's becoming a weapon for Detroit's offense. Look, he's not the prototypical wide receiver that you can build your franchise around, and he's not going to be the number one on this team if and when they're ever winning. You got to bring in somebody, but if he can be that complement piece, that Golden Tate to, I think that Calvin Johnson and Golden Tate were together for a bit, right?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Maybe a year or two. Golden Tate to Marvin Jones, Golden Tate. There was other guys in there. Golden Tate's a perfect example, I think, where that's kind of who he is, in a way.
Well, it seems like it, just because it's an easy comparison with his size and then what he's been doing after the catch.
Yeah.
Those are the obvious comparisons.
Every Lions fan has compared him to Golden Tate, which is fair, but
he kind of runs like him.
He
kind of
does.
looks like him.
Physical like him too.
Yeah, definitely.
I like him, and he doesn't have the arrogance that Golden Tate had, which I love, because that was something that I had a hard time with Golden Tate about. I'm like, I don't know. He wasn't my favorite when it comes to that.
He was funny. He was hilarious. I loved the antics. Like, he would get, like, he'd make 2 guys miss and then get just knocked to the ground like crazy. He'd stand up and do some weird, like, first down celebration.
Yeah.
But that was just him. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is his own guy. He can do his own thing, and he seems to be the hardworking type that wants to get back in the huddle and see what else he can do for the team. Mm-hmm. Which includes blocking, which includes being on the outside in the slot. Like, I just like his willingness to be a part of this team and do it the coach's way. It seems like he's earned everybody's respect on the team, which includes quarterbacks, includes coaching staff. They're calling his number now, and like we said earlier, his routes have gone from 1 to 3 yard routes where it was just a safety net guy to now he's actually being the threat on the field, and I love seeing that, because this is the kind of this is the kind of growth that we need from this team with future draft picks. We need to know what we have in order to invest in future assets.
I think having Hawkinson out has really benefited him because they were using him to open up Hawkinson. They were using him to take over, kind of run those rub routes and open up Hawkinson a little bit more, where now he's running routes to catch the ball. He's running routes to be option 1, if not 2. You know what I mean? Which I think it's awesome. And it's very important. I mean, what was he, a 4th round pick? Was it
fourth round, yeah.
If you can get an NFL wide receiver in the 4th round, see ya. I'll take that all day, every day.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be a
star. 7th pick of the 4th round. This guy, we were trying to go wide receiver in the 2nd round.
We talked about it for sure.
3rd round, we had these guys circled, and there were some guys that I really liked, and I still really like. But the fact that the coaching staff and Brad Holmes, they saw something in him. They didn't want to invest. They wanted the core. They got the linemen with the first 3 picks of last year's draft. They're all working out. They're working out really well.
Yeah.
And then in the 4th round, they found a future asset for wide receiver. In the 4th round, they found a future asset as a linebacker, and these guys are getting playing time, and I really like what the Lions did with last year's draft picks.
Yeah, Boyle, obviously with Goff out, he didn't do anything. I mean, obviously the interception killed him, right? The interception was.
Well, that killed him.
It was right there in your face.
That killed him.
It was a terrible throw. Terrible throw. I can't defend him. He played a pretty solid game. The numbers aren't outstanding, but he looked way more confident than he did the first time.
It was a Jared Goff type of game.
But Jared Goff plays this game. Lions win this game, right? Is that safe to say?
I actually agree with that, yes.
So thank you, COVID, that Goff wasn't there. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Especially when we'll get into a little bit more with where things are going with the standings and stuff, but I did want to talk a little bit more about this game. It just felt like a perfect scenario. It felt like they competed, they played well, they may have been the better team at times, and they lost. And where we're at in the standings, I'll take that. It didn't feel like a waste of time. And I feel like there has been a couple games that you sit down on Sunday and you feel dirty that you just wasted 4 hours of your life watching this football game. I didn't feel that way after the game.
No.
It felt like we were this was
because you saw them competing again. It was a competitive game. You saw their identity. We talked last week about identity. The team went out and dominated the Cardinals. We knew who they were. We knew the direction the team wants to go in the future. This game didn't change any of that. Their starting quarterback was out. They have all of these guys out for the season with injuries, and yet these guys are out there competing. And once again, the defense, the undermanned, outclassed, out-talented defense that they keep rolling out there keeps putting up numbers that are just really incredible in my mind. They're holding these guys less than 3 touchdowns a game. This would be celebrated in any other scenario other than just a 2-win team.
Yep.
This defense would be celebrated from when they started playing well, when they started playing together, really when the rookies started getting more playing time, to now. These numbers at the Lions, I really should be looking at the overall numbers of the Lions' defensive standings because I think they're pretty impressive.
Yeah, I haven't pulled that up in a while.
Yeah.
They've had a couple rough games, to say the least, that could probably skew them in the wrong direction. But when the offense is moving the ball, and that's kind of what it is. And I don't want to give the defense a ton of credit because the offense is playing perfectly for them. They're controlling the clock. I mean, time of possession was 38 minutes to 22 minutes, basically. Give or take 5 seconds. That is a massive difference in an NFL football game. And they're stealing possessions. They had the 4th down fake punt, which was awesome. Great call by the team.
Yeah, I love it.
That was really cool because another great throw by Fox.
Should be our quarterback.
They were actually 3 of 4 on 4th down.
Yeah.
People aren't talking about going. It's just so funny the way that we've talked about that enough though.
Just the
hypocrisy behind fans and talking heads that people might rely on a little too much. But total yards, Lions 338 to 254. Passing yards were even at 208 to 207. Rushing yards, again, Jamal Williams, he got the bulk of the carries, 19 carries for 77 yards. Just a rotating door here at running back. Anybody can do it. It's just this offensive line and this scheme. It's working, and I'm telling you, this just screams Colts to me. It screams the way that they're building this organization is in the trenches, defensive line, offensive line, and our defense line's been way underrated too. Yeah, they might not be getting the sacks. They got 3 this week, which was awesome.
Yep.
Great to see.
Yep.
It's not game-changing. You have that guy. You don't have the Aaron Donald who's blowing things up left and right, and people are getting all excited about it. But they're playing pretty good football.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. McNeil had a sack, which was awesome. Austin Bryant also had a sack, and then Derek Barnes got was that his first career sack? I
don't think it's his first, but
No.
I could be wrong about that.
Man, he had a good game, I thought. Quietly, he had a good game.
He's getting some snaps taken away from him, but I think he's playing good football.
Yeah, but from who? Who's getting those?
It's like Hughes or something?
Is it? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. But,
Morris?
I mean, anyways,
I don't know.
where are we at? Like, also, Reeves-Maben. He's
Man.
playing good. Sorry, I meant to bring him up part of the whole thing there.
Well,
but
in our season intro, we talked about Reeves-Maben as having a big part in this defense because of what Dan Campbell wanted to do. He wanted to be faster. Well, Reeves-Maben is a fast linebacker. He covers a lot of ground. And then really physical, and he's a complete sellout. Like he just puts his body on the line all the time. So we thought he would probably have a big role, but he just hasn't had just a big role. He's actually really excelled in this defensive scheme, this style of defense that they're playing, and I think he's an asset. He's a piece for the future.
yeah,
Don't you think he's one of these guys that should be considered? I don't know about what his contract is like, but if we re-sign him, this should be a guy that we try to bring back. He seems like he buys into the coaching staff.
Yep.
He's all in with this team, and he would be a guy to be one of those glue guys in the locker room to keep everybody together.
I think that's going to be a very interesting thing in this offseason. I'm sure you have. I haven't looked at the cap space. I haven't looked at the expiring contracts the way I probably should have yet. I know they're going to have a lot of space opening up. They're probably going to have to make a decision on guys like that. Look, I want to upgrade. Because one thing that I like about what this coaching staff's doing is they're using what they have, right?
Yep.
And they're getting those guys to buy in. But that's only one piece of the puzzle. You got to get really good players in the NFL to buy in. Not saying Reeves-Maben isn't, but is he going to be a piece when this team is ready to win? I would lean towards no, and it depends on who's available. Who can you bring in? Because, like I'm not going to throw any name out there because I don't know. I haven't looked at free agents, but like if you can't upgrade and also have that buy-in, and people are going to buy in if they're going to sign here. That's the key. They're not coming here to win a Super Bowl. They're coming in to buy into this coaching staff.
Yeah.
So I would assume that free agents are going to already have that buy-in mentality. But if we can get better, I think that's where it's really going to be interesting. If you can keep this foundation, lose players, lose part of that foundation, and kind of keep going in the right direction. That's going to be a really tough thing to do, I think.
Yeah, but I think what you're really going to see is this organization get better through the draft. And you're going to see the draft capital come back to fruition. That's how you build in the NFL.
Yeah.
And yes, you fill your pieces, you fill the gaps with free agents, and there's no problem with doing that. And Lions have done that in the past. I know Stephen Tulloch was a free agent signing that was really underrated at the time, or it was turned out to be underrated because he was a good middle linebacker. Those are the kind of guys that we could bring in when the time is right. But what's most important, I think, the glue guys right now in the rebuild is they have to be the ones to be the intermediary between the rookies that get signed, which is our really upgraded talent. What we're hoping is the best upgraded talent, and then to the coaching staff. So then, what the coaching staff, those rookies have to fit in with the veterans that are like Jalen Reeves-Maben and some of the other, Alex Anzalone and all these guys. If they feel like they have somebody to learn from, that understand the system, that plays really hard and fast, and they have to outwork him, outcompete him, all that stuff. Those are the guys we need. So I agree with you. Maybe he's not one that makes us a great defense, but I mean, look at the fruit right now, right? I mean, their defense is. If we're ready to compete on the offensive end, and our defense is playing like this, they're playing good enough to win every week right now.
They are, and honestly, I know. Look, we haven't played an extremely good team in the last several. I guess Arizona. Some people might think they're really good.
Yeah, they shot themselves in the foot. Yeah,
but like, I don't see them playing anybody that they can't compete with playing the way that they are.
I mean, the Packers come to mind. I don't think they have the superstar talent they need to compete with them.
But they have the ability to steal possessions, slow the game down, keep Aaron Rodgers on the side. Look, I'm not saying the Lions are as good as the Packers. I'm just saying the way that this team is rolling, the way that they're doing it, it can be done against some of the best teams in football.
Yeah.
I believe that. I know
you can go shot for shot with them. Yes, I agree with you.
I don't think you have to go shot for shot with them.
Well, not meaning you score every time you have the ball, but you have to be able to match the production that Aaron Rodgers will guaranteed put up. You're not going to shut him out.
No, I agree with that. And look, yeah, Packers are a different breed, but you start looking at, and this is kind of part of the conversation here, is the 49ers and Eagles are both currently in a playoff spot at 8 and 7. You got the Vikings and Falcons in the hunt at 7 and 8. I don't think the Lions are like game in, game out that much worse than the 7 and 8 teams. And look, I think the 49ers they probably have a much higher upside, but the Eagles, I know we got smoked by them, but that game hit the fan so fast that you couldn't do what you're doing now. I'm just like, do you think that, I know there's a full offseason, a full draft and stuff, but there's no reason why this team can't be in that mediocre spot next year, right? Like, where are you thinking, like...
No, I agree with you. I think, 6-7 wins and a sneaky 8 is within the realm of possibility next year.
And let's be honest.
If they do things the right way in the draft.
So I assume that team's going to get more talented. I like the foundation that's being set. I like the way that they're going to be a run-first offense behind Goff. They're not going to go in and take a quarterback and all of a sudden be a throw-first offense. We're Aaron Rodgers away, or Aaron Rodgers leaving away from being competing for this division.
Yeah,
I like where the Lions are compared to the Bears. I know they have their quarterback, but they're going to fire their coach. It's going to be a whole new regime.
Yeah, that's the
They're
last thing
not in
you
a
want.
great cap space. They don't have a first round pick this year. They already blew that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot.
You're looking at
wrong with that.
a rookie quarterback going into a second year with a second head coach.
Yep. And the Vikings are in cap hell. Who knows what's going to go on with Kirk Cousins and all that stuff. Like, so many question marks there. And Devontae Adams is expiring. What is going to happen?
He's going to follow Aaron Rodgers.
He's going to follow Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is gone, right? That's already been established, I would assume, like, unless things come crazy. But
start worshiping,
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But I'm assuming he's going to be gone. I'm going to stick to his word. I mean, he seems to be a stick-to-my-word type guy.
Yeah.
So, like, tell me the Lions aren't in a better spot than at least two of the teams heading into next year.
No, and I agree, 100% agree with you. I think we can have an identity similar to what the 49ers want to do. They have their running attack. They have what they want to do on defense, turn the ball over, go get the quarterback and all that stuff. That's a great spot to be. But if you look at like the Eagles and the Vikings and Falcons, at least the Lions have that. At least they have their identity. They have like a baseline of young talent that's leading their defensive line right now, that's leading their offensive line right now. Though, if those are set, those are solid, and now we start building the building blocks around them, and it's not like we don't have cornerbacks. We just most of them are hurt.
3 of them are.
Yeah. So if we continue to build that group, now we have depth and talent, and then you can choose between which ones you want.
Yeah.
The guys like Jerry Jacobs, who are kind of gamers,
can step
once he comes back from injury, then he can supplement Jeffrey Okudah if he comes back as a corner. If not, that's maybe safety groups bolstered or whatever you want to say. Like, our goal is to upgrade all of these areas of weakness, but not only that, with the injuries that are coming back, it can now turn into a place of depth, which I think the conversation started with Amon-Ra St. Brown. We have Josh Reynolds.
Yep.
Who's really stepped in, and everybody likes what he's doing.
And it sounds like he wants to come back. They're saying that. We'll see what happens.
But he's a big-bodied, faster, more prototypical wide receiver
number
type.
one frame.
Yep.
Not number one yet.
But the frame, you're right. So you have him mixed with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Quintez Cephas coming back from injury. Again, we're talking about injuries coming back. We have T.J. Hawkinson coming back from injury next year. Like, maybe. Yeah, but all of these guys, you're talking about depth now. And now when somebody else gets injured, there's always going to be an injury.
Yep.
But now we can actually handle it. Now we've established who are the gamers, who are not.
Yeah.
Who can play, who can't. And hopefully we add a top talent at wide receiver in this draft as well. And now he's just part of the mix.
Yeah.
And we're talking about that at the linebacker position, wide receiver, cornerback, safety, like all these areas of weakness and, defensive end.
Yeah.
Acquire brothers back. I mean, there are pieces there. I guess that's the point. Not that we're going to go take the world by storm and win a Super Bowl.
Are we going to re-sign Charles Harris? Like that's another thing.
There you go. But
I think we have Trey Flowers for one more year. I think he's an opt-out or a buyout candidate, but I think he's under one more year.
But we also didn't get ourselves in any more of those situations. We didn't try to go get a Trey Flowers this year. We got Brashad Perriman, cut him, and guess what? He doesn't hurt us at all.
Yeah.
Going into next year. And that's
Williams,
the beauty of what we did.
Yeah.
All the 1-year contracts that we got that got us through. Those guys are hardly even playing right now. We're on the guys that are part of the future.
Yeah. So one more thing that I want to bring up, as long as I remember. The standings now. So Lions lost, great. Competed, it was fun to watch. With the Jets and Houston winning, the Lions can now afford to win one more game. So you're down to two games left.
Feels good.
Crazy. But without moving down in the draft, so we're basically solidified at 2. I don't think the Jags are going to somehow win a game. Too bad they didn't win this week against the Jets.
They should have.
But anyways,
they tanked it hard.
1 yard line, 3 plays to do it, or 2 plays to do it, and then they spiked one of them, which was Trevor Lawrence.
And then there was a false start.
Was there a false start?
Oh, yeah, false start that ended 10-second runoff, lost the game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That
sounds like a Lions loss.
Well, that's a tank job.
Sounds like a way the Lions would. Oh,
that's a tank job for sure, 100%.
But anyways, the Lions are at a point that they could, let's say, go in, compete hard, win a game against Seattle, and not move down in the draft. You're still going to get 1 or 2, Thibodeau, Hutchinson, whoever's left. I love that. I love that we have a little bit of room, because if Houston and the Jets would, we'll get into, but another win would have really hurt their draft stock, their draft position. Look, I was all for winning a couple weeks ago or last week when they did it against Arizona, because I didn't worry too much between 1 and 2. I was a little worried to win another one and lose that number 2 spot.
Yep.
Now that we have that flexibility, I say go out and win one more mother effing game and continue to build and set that culture as a winning culture now. Like they're competing. That's not a question. Now, can they win is another question, and I like what they're doing.
The best part about the loss is that the locker room thinks that they won the game. They outplayed the other team. Everybody saw that. The fans saw it. The players know it. Everybody knows that the Lions outplayed them in that game. They just lost. And they lost without their starting quarterback, so they can swallow that loss. They understand why they ended up losing the game. So I think it's not a bad. It wasn't a negative to the locker room, them losing that game, right?
No,
so
I
agree. I think it's a great spot to be in, because as long as we don't win the next 2, we're not going to fall any more spots. And the top 2 is important, because Aiden and Kayvon Thibodeau are really the elite talents in this draft class
for now.
I think Evan Neal might jump up and become, because the Jacksonville want to protect their starting quarterback of the future, so they might go left tackle.
They could go tackle, and
absolutely,
man.
They could. And then we have our pick at number 2. But that also opens up trade possibilities, because if another team wants to go
and
get
choose
an elite
the
defensive end, then they give up their draft slot, and we have the Giants, Eagles, Jets. All of them have multiple first-round picks.
Yeah.
So they're thinking that maybe they want to give up some of those assets to go get the elite guys that they really want.
Man, it'll be interesting. And Lions are sitting in a very good spot. I'll take it. I'll take where we're at. And you mentioned Goff real quick. We should probably wrap up the Lions talk here soon.
We got a lot of Michigan to talk.
How is Goff? Has he changed anything? Can this team, I'm assuming this is their guy. I'm starting to think that.
It feels like it.
Because one thing, as soon as you draft your quarterback, you start your clock of your build. Your build is over when you draft a quarterback. That's when your clock starts as a GM and a head coach. You don't get much more time. If they can ride out this Goff contract 2-3 more years, let's say 2 more years, and then they draft their quarterback.
Yeah.
Now they I think they both signed 6-year deals. Maybe one was a 7-year deal. They're running those out. You know what I mean? You're not going to get fired when you still haven't drafted your quarterback and picked out the way you want to build and play this football game. You know what I mean?
I've been going back and forth about this, because I've been doing a lot of mock drafts lately. I don't want a quarterback with their first pick of the first round.
I agree.
But that second pick of the first round is really intriguing, because of Sam Howell and maybe one of the other quarterbacks.
Corral?
No, I don't like Matt Corral.
No.
Not for the Lions. No, I think he's too much of a wild card. I don't think he's that good of a runner. He's not a Kyler Murray type.
Who's Nevada's quarterback? Carson Strong?
I hate Carson Strong.
Okay.
I don't hate him. Sorry, Carson. Yeah, I know you're a listener.
Cut out the I'm gonna cut it out where you said
I don't
hate him, so he's gonna think he hates you.
I don't want him. I don't like the way he throws the ball. I think Sam Howell is the intriguing one to me because he was an elite quarterback prospect until he lost like a bunch of first round talent.
Okay.
And then or first and second round talent really with De'Ami Brown going in the second or third round. But to me, he is the most pro style, most pro ready quarterback of all of them. He just didn't have a dominating season this year. Mm-hmm. And it might hurt his draft stock, and I think so other guys will be ahead of him, which I'm okay with because I don't want the other guys. I don't want Kenny Pickett. I don't want him. I've been watching his film. I'm not a huge fan of him. I don't think he's one for the future. I don't think he's as good as what's his name from the Patriots that they just drafted last year.
Mac Jones?
I don't think he's a Mac Jones. I really don't. Like Mac Jones was special to me because of his decision making and his perfection balls that he throws sideline to sideline. That's not Kenny Pickett to me. I think Kenny Pickett just kind of had good circumstances this year. I don't want. Yeah, I shouldn't get too much into the quarterback thing, but I think with the Lions, they have to decide one of these guys has to be convincingly, no matter what, absolutely their guy for the future. And so if they look at Sam Howell and they're convinced and they go get him, I'm okay with starting that clock right now this year if they found their guy, if they go get him.
If their guy is sitting there. I think that's one thing we're seeing is the way that their draft was run last year. They didn't move up in panic and go get the guy they wanted.
Yep.
And they just let it fall into place because they had multiple places that they could have gone.
First and second round.
And that was what I was going to say is they didn't trade up the second time. They wanted him. They were like, their lips were licking their lips like, we got to go up and get, who was it, McNeil?
Levi
and Uzurike, right? They wanted him so bad. They talked about moving him up. It wasn't worth it at the time, and they still got him. And that's where I'm like, this team's still at a spot that they can be patient and hope that it falls in line, but they're not gonna go get somebody just for the sake of going and getting them. You know what I mean? They'll take their best player, who they think is best, right in there, right now. You know what I mean? And I think that's really important, especially the way that sorry, I can't think of the GM's name.
Brad Holmes.
Brad Holmes. What they talked about he did with the Rams and what he's been part of, I think is it's gonna work. And he's not going to go out and be the smartest guy in the room. He doesn't need to prove anything like Bob Quinn felt like he had to do. He had to prove himself to not just be another Patriot spinoff, and Patricia didn't have to prove himself. We have two guys that are comfortable with who they are, comfortable with their vision, and ready to go all in with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of went in circles there, but
no, but so again, if they found their guy at quarterback and he's there with the second pick of the first round, then I'm okay with starting that rebuild. And then you have the last year of Goff's contract as it currently stands to be the leader of the clubhouse and all that stuff. But then you get your other guy, and I really do. The more I see the NFL, I see the value in having somebody earn their spot or take a year and watch a quarterback, because there's a lot of decision making and defensive reading and all this stuff going on. And that's 1 year of just understanding, getting the lingo, getting it's a new language going into the NFL. So that's another year for these guys to just get up to speed with it. Less thinking overall and more reacting, and then that just breeds success and it breeds confidence.
Yeah, Goff is growing on me. That's kind of the point of the story for me is he's really growing on me. I like him as a person. I like his interviews. I like what he's doing on the field. I think he's growing into what we thought he was going to be. We talked about that enough last week. But
yeah, I just trust Brad Holmes at this point.
I do too.
With his draft that he just pulled off, I trust his direction of the team. I trust his decision making, and we're basically in the Stevie Y kind of mindset right now.
Yeah. Once again, our bumps are not working, but I did want to quick shout out our social media, State of My Sports on YouTube, State of My Sports on Facebook. Like our page, share it. Obviously, we're on the podcast platforms. Give us a 5-star rating. Share it with your friends. I mean, we wanted this thing to keep on growing, so please share it. It will really help us out. But the 5-star rating all that kind of stuff really helps us get found for people that are just looking at podcasts for the state of Michigan. Real quick on the MSU Peach Bowl, Thursday night, Mel Tucker's number 10 Michigan State Spartans take on a familiar face, Pat Narduzzi's number 12 Pittsburgh Panthers at the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. You can watch the Spartans matchup on Thursday night, 7 p.m. on ESPN, while the betting line opened at Pitt -4, with Kenny Pickett opting out. The line moved and settled in at Spartans, actually -2.5, even with Walker opting out. Is this the wash that Spartan fans are kind of like? Every Spartan fan I talk to, they're saying how, it's even because Kenny Pickett opted out and Kenneth Walker opted out. I think that is complete bullcrap. And look, I feel like I'm getting more and more hating towards Spartan fans, but I think when I lose back to back to them, I'm gonna do that. I think a quarterback at opt out is completely different than a running back, and I think the betting line showed it. As soon as Kenny Pickett opted out, the line moved 5 points? Or no, 6.5 points. It moved, and then when Walker opted out, it didn't move anymore.
Yeah.
Look, I don't want to hate on what he did, what Kenneth Walker did. It was an amazing season, but it's a quarterback compared to a running back.
Well, and it's quarterback for Pitt, so let's not pretend that Pitt doesn't rely on Kenny Pickett 100%. Like, he is their offense. They need him to compete. They're the reason they have the bowl that they have right now, or he is. He's the reason they are where they are. It's not like they have crazy talent everywhere you look around them. It's Kenny Pickett and the rest of the team. So, I don't know. I don't even really care that much about this game.
Isn't that weird?
I don't care.
This is technically a New Year's Six Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is
why are people opting out?
Deal. It's so frustrating. And so last week we talked about it, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. It doesn't matter. And I said the only way to get rid of these opt-outs is expanding a playoff.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this on Sunday, actually. I was like, that's false. That was a really dumb thing to say. And I didn't hear anybody else say this. This is actually an epiphany for myself. It's not about the game. It's not about a exhibition game that nobody cares about. You know what it's about? It's about the 4 to 5 weeks between your game and your bowl game. It's 4 to 5 weeks of sticking to class. It's 4 to 5 weeks of following your head coach's rules. It's 4 to 5 weeks of catering to the athletic department, following these rules, jumping through hoops just to play in an exhibition football game. It has nothing to do with they don't want to play this football game. They want to play in this Peach Bowl. They would play in this Peach Bowl. They would risk the injury to play in this game. But when it's 4 to 5 weeks of long, grueling football and you're just prepping for this game that nobody really cares about, that's where these guys are like, screw that. I'm going to go home to my family for the holidays. I'm going to go do this. I don't need any of that.
Yeah, you're right. It's the holiday season.
It's the time.
Yeah.
And I think that the bowl thing can still work. And I know this is the opposite of what I've said in the past.
I don't know if it can.
If they're willing to adjust and move it up to a week and a half. Look, we have teams, Central Michigan, for example. They were going to go play in Arizona Bowl, right? The other team got COVID and can't play. So what they do? They move it to another bowl. They're going to play on Saturday instead of, today, I think.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if you can do that,
yeah,
you can play a football game a week and a half after the season. So you can lay out all the bowl games before the conference championship games. Play the following week.
Play them
These guys
during
don't
the conference
need
championship.
It. Just do just do it.
Yeah. Well,
what is the point of waiting 4 to 5 weeks?
The problem is they don't want to lose the tradition or money. It depends how you look at it, but the tradition of the bowl game. So they don't want to change that about college football. They want to hold on to the history that they've created a long time ago. We're not seeing the bowl games. These guys are opting out like crazy. It's not like the only guys who are playing are the seniors and underclassmen who are trying to the underclassmen who are trying to earn a spot for the next year and prove themselves, and then the seniors, the ones that are not going to get drafted, who have no stock in that game at all, and they just want to like go out on some sort of winning, high. Like, these games are undervalued. They're not the same as what they used to be in the past anyway. So let's fix the issue. There's an issue that everybody sees. People don't even watch these games right now. The ratings are in the basement. Nobody's watching any of them, even when they are playing. Why? Because you're not even watching a good brand of football. You're not watching the best brand of football that we know is available to us. When Kenny Pickett's not playing for Pitt, nobody cares about Pitt. Yeah. So why are we watching that?
I agree. Only Pitt cares about Pitt. Only Pitt fans care.
And if Kenneth Walker's not playing for MSU, then if you're a Sparty fan, like, I want to see how the team does without him, but I don't care about it. Their competition isn't what it should be.
Yeah.
So why do I care about the game?
Yep.
It's a New Year's Six game.
Yeah,
we should care.
Yeah, we should. And I mean, Ohio State's
doing it.
They're opting out of the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
The Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all. People don't care.
Nobody cares.
The players don't care, so why should we care? But again, I don't think it's the game. I think it's the time. I think it's the effort. I really think so. If you have 4 to 5 weeks, that's just what I keep saying. I think it's 5 weeks since Michigan State's played, roughly. Those are that right there is a good amount of time you can focus on the draft, right? And I agree with that completely. I don't hate anybody that opts out. I agree with it. But if you make that 2 weeks after, a week after the Big Ten championship game, you play the bowl games. Some of them you can mix and match. Nobody cares. Like, throw it on a Thursday during the day. You're gonna get the same amount of people watching.
I understand what you're saying. The best way to make sure these teams play the games is to expand the playoff.
I agree. That's the best way
and play it. But
I just think it's another option that I didn't think about until then. Again, let's get back into the Michigan State game. Thorne, Naylor, and Reed. Real quick. You don't want to?
No, go ahead.
All right. Need to lead this offense. Pitt has the 6th best run defense in the country and are 105th nationally in pass defense. MSU has an underrated passing game, mainly because of the season Walker had. Without him, it will be interesting to see if, like, the game's going to be on Thorne's back. When the game's been on his back, it hasn't gone well for him, but he still has that ability, and he has the weapons, and I think it's a very underrated aspect of Michigan State. And if I was a Spartan fan, which, and look, I'm going to watch the game anyways, but I'm interested to see what this guy can do with his weapons without the safety net of Kenneth Walker. Similar to what the Lions are doing without Swift, and obviously it's a little different because you can rotating door at running back for Lions, but I think it's interesting to see. And I don't think they're going to bring in any running back that's going to, explode. You have 2 guys that are probably going to just be gone next year. If not, I honestly don't know. I mean, you got Elijah Collins and Jordan Simmons for 66 carries this year for 342 yards. That's what they did. I don't think either of them are going to be the lead back next year.
Yeah, Simmons has the best chance, but no, you're right. Yeah.
So I'm not too interested in that. But what I would want to see is what Thorne can do. Can he take another step? Can he do something against a pretty good defense? Yeah, the pass defense isn't great, but this is a team that just won their conference. This is a team that was right there. And, yeah, with Pickett out, the defense gets a little bit of a breather. The final score isn't very interesting to me, but how Michigan State's offense looks without a Kenneth Walker is interesting to me. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'd like to see how Peyton Thorne plays in this game. He's the main focus for me to see what he does. Nothing really other than that. Again, the final score doesn't matter to me because nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares. Like, people don't even hold bowl losses against these teams anymore either. Like, the last time I can remember is when the Big Ten really struggled several years ago, and that, like, I feel like everybody lost in the bowl games.
And they hated on them, right?
And SEC country hated on them.
Yeah.
But then the next year,
SEC was awful.
Yeah, Big Ten just dominated bowl games, and then I think that's when everybody said, who cares? SEC was sitting everybody. Big Ten played everybody. It doesn't matter anyways. And then since then, it's just been like a free-for-all. Nobody really cares. Like, they're not held to that standard. There's no repercussions at all.
One thing that you might care about, and maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I'm going to pose this as the question. We can end the Spartan conversation with that. We don't really need to get into the game, right? That's basically what you're saying?
Yeah, let's not do it.
One thing that's happening is Mel Tucker is allowing transfer portal guys that are on Michigan State's team and have already entered the transfer portal, to play in this game. What do you think about that?
I think it's a ploy for him to get more transfers into the program.
Okay.
And I think he wants to win, and he wants to recruit off of a number of wins for a season. Because what are they right now? 11 wins? They have
10, I think.
10 or 11. I don't know.
They lost 2 games, so it should be 10 wins.
So if they're 10 wins right now, I think he wants to recruit with an 11-win season. I think he wants to win this game, I guess, is where I'm going. And his best chance of doing that is to have his transfer players play the game. I get the argument on both sides of it. Some guys have already decommitted from this team in a sense, and they're still allowed to play for the team. Makes no sense.
I would be furious if I was a player.
Yeah, if you're in the locker room,
then
you feel like you've been betrayed by these guys.
And
then they
your
go
coach
out
is
and
going
play.
And we'll see what kind of playing time they get.
Yeah.
Obviously, that has something to do with it. Maybe they
But
just
you're
need
supposed
bodies.
But you're supposed to, like, the most influential thing you can do for a football team is to not play for the coaches, not play for the program, but play for the guy next to you. When you talk about former players who won championships, they said they were doing it for the guy next to them.
Yeah.
That's a
what
cliche.
they say.
That's a cliche thing.
For sure.
But that's what they say, and the guys who really buy into it, like Michigan kind of, hear rumblings that they have in that kind of a sense this year, and back in their championship winning days, that's what they would say is it's for the guy next to you. So do you have that same level of respect or even like trust in those guys who are not with the program anymore, that they're going to sell out 100% like you? I don't know.
Yeah, I would have
it's
a really
weird
hard
dynamic.
time with it. I would have a very, very hard time with it. Pat Narduzzi disagrees with what the Spartans are doing. He says, I think it sets a bad precedent. I watched the Florida game the other night and saw that the starting quarterback is already in the portal. What's going on here? I think the portal is bad enough as it is. We've been lucky and fortunate. I think we've got a great culture where our guys hang in there. We've got guys coming back for a 5th and 6th year. We have not had that problem, so we're blessed that way. But it's a bad deal when you let guys go in the portal and still play for you. I just wonder what it's like in the locker room, and you wonder why you lose like that in a game. I don't know what do you mean.
Well, I think he's saying, like, why, look at Florida, like, why you think why would you lose in that kind of a game against a team that you're way better than?
Because you have a quarterback that has 1 foot out the door.
Exactly, yeah. So he thinks it's a bad precedent in that way.
Yeah, and I kind of agree. I don't think transfer portal guys should play. I think if it were my team, I wouldn't allow it.
What did I say earlier? I didn't give my opinion. I just said the
really
reason.
Did. Yeah. And
I think
it's numbers, personally, for Michigan State. I think they need bodies.
He wants to win the game. I still stand by that. I think Mel Tucker wants to win the game, but I agree with you. I think if you're in the transfer portal, that at that point you are no longer associated with any team. That's your own decision. You got to live by your own decisions. And if you're going to say, like, let's just say I go out there and I say, nope, I am not committed to this to my job anymore. I'm basically saying that I'm no longer bound to them through the contract that we have, and I'm not going to get paid anymore by them. Like, that's on me.
But then you kind of look at it as you usually give it a 2-week notice, right? Like, that's kind of the typical thing with a job. So you already have 1 foot out the door. I may have seen this at my office recently.
Yeah.
But you have 1 foot out the door, but you still get to work for 2 weeks, or you still have that's kind of the prototypical thing, right? I'm going to give my 2 weeks and I'm done after that. So that's another way. Like, I haven't thought about it that way with business until you just said that. It's like,
yeah, I kind of contradicted myself, didn't I? Because
I don't know if you did. I was just thinking, like,
well, as an employee, you're giving your employer benefit of reacting.
Yeah.
Of time, right?
I'm not going to be here next year, but I will be here until you don't need me to be. And that's finish the season. I might have just changed my thought on it.
Yeah, I don't know.
And an employer being like, oh, man, this is tough. How much time we got on this?
Well, that does bring up a good point. If you've committed to this season, then you should play out the full season. I would make my
But then don't enter the transfer portal until then.
That is the problem. They should limit the time that they're allowed to be in the transfer portal and make it during February.
Exactly. They could say on New Year's Day, yeah, I'm entering the transfer portal, and they wouldn't have lost any sleep over it.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't have lost an opportunity, nothing like that. It would just be. So that's what the problem is. Don't enter the transfer portal until the season's officially done.
Why aren't we
maybe
running
move up
NCAA?
the bowl games a couple weeks so they can not miss out on that opportunity?
Man, NCAA gets everything wrong.
NCAA is one of the worst run organizations. I don't know how they're doing what they're doing. They're so profitable, I'm sure, and they're literally like sleeping on money.
Suck. Yeah.
But they're so bad. Like they're so hypocritical.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. I hate the NCAA. I hate the NCAA. It's the worst. It is.
Same. I used to not be able to get a ride from my head coach back from the practice field back to because that would be like a special favor that other students would not have the opportunity to get a ride from one place to another within campus grounds. And so like he would say no, and I would walk like a mile, and then he'd be, and I'd get back. Well, it wasn't a mile; it just felt like it because there was a big hill. But then like like I look at these guys that are playing for Michigan, playing for Alabama, like what? Like you don't.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I just don't see how that's comparable. But the NCAA made my coach react that way, and it was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And now I see like these teams that get everything paid for them, like amazing steak dinners or fish dinners whenever they wanted for the basketball team or football team, and like they can be treated like that, and that's okay, part of the rules. But I can't get a ride from my coach, but from the practice field back to the locker room.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Because if that happened, somebody would have found out and called Oakland University out on that.
Totally.
Like,
because of our
they're disqualified for the playoffs now.
Competition.
Yeah. It'd be like, no, doesn't work anymore. No, sorry.
Our compete level is too high.
Yeah, exactly. They'd be like, no, we're going to have to take those 3 wins from you guys.
Golden Grizzlies. Hey, come on now.
We got
to 20 wins one year.
20, is that a lot?
No.
Oh. You were there. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to hit a bumper. You want me to?
No, I got to do the hops read, so it's kind of a good segue, right?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Before we get into the main topic for episode 137, this is 137, right? Or is it 138?
Oh, I don't know. I threw that piece of paper.
I'm not going to move on to it. It is 137.
138.
Is it 138?
Yeah, that's what it says on the show sheet.
I've lost track because the stream says 137.
The show sheet that you sent out that I read says 138.
You read that multiple times too, you said, right?
Just did.
All right. Before we get into this episode's main topic, I want to remind everyone that the Hops Brewing Company and Cafe we should just have this recorded so we just do it.
Yeah.
Is open and pouring some of the best craft beer in West Michigan. Their revamped food menu, rotating taps, wine and ciders make the Hops perfect for whatever you have going on, from late night drinks with friends, dinner with the family, and everything in between. The Hops is becoming a staple in the West Michigan. I thought you were going to the bathroom, so I slowed down a lot.
No, I'm sorry.
I was like, oh, I
messed with the shadows and everything. I threw everything off.
And now I lost where I'm at. The Hops is becoming a staple in West Michigan's restaurant community that we highly recommend to our friends and listeners. Taco Tuesday is back at the Hops,
yes.
which we hit up a couple weeks ago. Taco Tuesday consists of any taco for $2.50. And you can pair it with their margarita seltzer for only $3.
Why did I not do that today? I should have done that today.
You should have.
Yeah.
You guys did Chick-fil-A instead.
No, Chipotle.
Chipotle?
Yeah.
Oh, Andrea, I thought you said Chick-fil-A.
Oh, Chipotle.
I was like, dang, Chick-fil-A sounds good.
It does right now.
The Hops is the official brewery of Say to My Sports. And if you mention Say to My Sports, you get a nice little discount off your first beer. Here we are.
We've made it. Michigan game.
Like, all right, I've gone through a lot with this whole thing. Like,
yeah.
I would go not thinking about it, and then I really start thinking about it hard.
Yeah.
And I just get so stressed.
So I think,
and I'm not nervous for the sake of. I'm not nervous to lose this game. I'm not nervous for any of that. I'm just nervous because I am going to be so heavily invested in this.
Because you know what's coming for you.
Right?
You're just going to be in it pretty soon, and you're just like, oh, no.
Yeah, it's
coming up.
I get wore out watching a football game, and this is the biggest football game I think of my life in a lot of ways. I'm a Lions fan, so there's no big football games there.
I would say since 97.
Yeah, and I remember it, but I don't remember like being invested. I remember, Michigan won that. Oh, great,
Yeah,
like,
I watched that game.
I remember watching it,
but I was a kid.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't understand what it meant, and here we are. Like, this means a lot.
Yeah,
and this is really, really exciting. Real quick, New Year's Eve, 7:30 on ESPN. Michigan faces off against the Georgia Bulldogs at the Orange Bowl for the college football semifinal game. And when I say that is when I just like I get that feeling in my back, like, oh boy, I gotta like stretch or something. Like, the winner will play the winner of Cincinnati and Alabama matchup earlier in the day for the right to call themselves college football's national champion. Look, house money, right? They're playing with house money.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to allow you to use that argument.
I won't use it.
Because when this game kicks off, this is a coin flip game. We're going to get into why. We're going to get into all of that.
I'll only bring it up right now because I love the perspective of let's remember where this team came from. Let's remember the arguments against Jim Harbaugh.
Yep.
Let's remember all of the crap that people gave that they didn't have a quarterback in Cade McNamara. And even us early on in the season just saying you need to go to JJ, you need to go to JJ. Or Hassan Askins is, overlooked. Blake Corum's the absolute number one running back of this group. Doesn't pick and choose. Their middle linebacker is not good enough. Aiden Hutchinson doesn't get enough sacks.
Yeah.
Like the storylines were abundant. Why Michigan was not going to be here. And for 2 decades we have said, like we've felt, why not us? Like, why is it every other team? Why Ohio State? Why does Notre Dame get there every once in a while?
We have been close, so I don't want to like make it seem like we've never been there, but we're here.
Well, let's not pretend that we made it though. And now we won the Big Ten. We made it.
We beat Ohio State.
We made it.
We made it. We're oh my gosh. I am so excited for this football game. And I'm a little nervous to not be in my comfort zone to watch the game. You know how I am. You know how I am. I'm not going to be like...
Are you going to watch at my house or are you going to come over here?
I mean, if it's going to be on at your house and people are going to be quietish, I'll watch it at your house.
Yeah, we'll do our best.
If not, I am going to...
I've got a sound bar. We'll turn it way up.
Do it.
Okay.
And then
we'll kick the kids downstairs.
Don't tell... Like, they can't tell us to turn it down. That's another key.
And I'm just hoping whatever internet connection is good enough, and
right.
And if not, then we'll come
watch
over here.
Watch the internet go out, and I'm gonna be like, "What the?"
We're gonna run to
my internet will be out too. Yeah. So like, internet's just gonna go out.
We don't even have a backup plan.
Oh boy, no, I'm nervous. Looking for that. Like,
West Side Social.
Yeah, right. Dude, I'll run wherever. I'm not driving. That's for sure. Because we're gonna have a football game to watch before. Yeah. Like I'm planning on hanging out with you from what time's it? 3:30.
There you go.
Like we're hanging out that day.
We got to do some analysis. It's work related.
Exactly.
Right?
It's for the podcast.
Podcast related.
Because we got to prepare for Michigan's national championship matchup. Yeah. That's why we're gonna be watching the other game.
Yeah, I'm so pumped about this game though. Like if we're about to get into it, we're gonna look at the offenses, the defenses, but just the way these teams stack up next to each other, they're so similar in so many different ways. It's crazy.
It is. It's very crazy. And what it really is, in my opinion, is the people that watch Georgia day in and day out are going to be like, there's so many ways to win. They do this so well, and they can throw this at you, they can throw that at you. And Michigan is only this because they're looking at the numbers. And here we are, it's like we watch every Michigan game. We're like, well, Michigan can do it this way, they can do it that way, and it's so incredible. Like, they can just throw it out and turn on the football game and watch. Because your guess is as good as mine. Georgia's fans, their guess is as good as mine. I'm sorry, that's just the way this is. We're going to go through a lot of numbers here. We're going to go through a lot of, run against the run offense, against the run defense, and kind of break it down and try to give people something to look at. I think is in the keys to the game heading in. But real quick, from preseason unranked to here, Michigan, the players, Jim Harbaugh, the coaching staff, sticking with Gaddis when people didn't want to.
Huge.
Bringing in McDonald when that was a laughing stock heading into the season. What he has done, incredible. This coaching staff, they deserve tons of credit. And here they are again, 7.5-point underdog. They're kind of that's disrespectful. They're being counted out before those games even started, and I think it's just SEC bias. They know what it takes.
Yeah,
but it's also
I don't know if it's
also a safe number to put up a spread at because You win by a touchdown or you win by 10. Like, it can be a close game and lose by 10.
I think what that means
In this
is
type
that,
of football game, at least.
well, that there's an SEC bias, but then there's also Vegas doesn't want to make a real decision.
Yeah.
Like they're playing it safe because they don't know either. And it's hard to measure these teams against each other because their strengths are each other's strengths, and you don't know which strength is going to win out in the end. It's going to be awesome to watch.
The way I look at it is whoever can, and breaking news, whoever can do what they do well and make the other team adjust is the key. Just go out and play your football. Both of these teams, and it's not going to be in a cocky, arrogant way. It's going to be in a, look, this is the way we've done it. We're not going to change who we are for this game. You adjust. And it's going to be a feel-out process early on, and we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, I think we'll understand pretty early who's going to win this game. I think it's going to be, and I'm not going to say it's going to be like a blowout one way, but you're going to see if it's going to work. If what Michigan brings to the table is at that level of the top SEC team in the country. You know what I mean? Is Michigan there? We will see that pretty early in this game.
Yeah, I think
is Michigan head and shoulders better and going to do what they did to really good Big Ten teams, Michigan or Ohio State, Wisconsin, Penn State? Like, are they going to be able to do what worked for them against the SEC team?
I think Michigan has been such a good team that adapts at halftime. Their game plan.
It's a good point.
Like they make halftime adjustments as well or better than any team that I've seen in the country, and they just have this. And that's what I think about with the young coaching staff, like old guys that just are set in their ways and they don't want to make any halftime adjustments. They'll just probably want to inspire their group to do something different. Young guys, this coaching staff, they talked a lot about developing their game plans around the talent that they have on the field, which also translates to what's working mid-game. And I think that's an important part. So, but with the first half, if Michigan's game plan in this game is allowed to actually have success, which would be, moving the ball consistently with the running attack against this run rush defense, which is going to be a difficult task.
Yep.
That mixed with the big plays that we've seen, they've led the nation in big plays over 50 yards, which is just a surprising stat.
Crazy, yeah.
If they can do a mixture of both of those things that we see it on the field, then I think Michigan will have a great chance and actually probably has the edge in this game of winning the game, because I think they're that talented and they have this much confidence and ability and like belief in each other and themselves. If Georgia turns out that their defensive line truly dominates Michigan's offensive line and we don't have an answer for that, then we're going to be in for a long day, and we better get creative really fast, because that's something that I don't think we're convinced of right now, that their defensive line is just going to dominate the offensive line that just won the award for best offensive line in the country.
Yep.
I'm not convinced. And before we get too deep in this, I want to just bring up the schedule that Georgia has. Do you have that in here?
No, I almost put it on there.
I just want to say it real quick.
I wanted to put it on, and I decided to save a piece of paper.
Week 1, Georgia beat Clemson 10-3. Clemson's not a good team this year.
Unranked. Finish unranked.
There you go. Yeah, and they're not a good team. Let's not pretend that Clemson's a good team. They're not. They only beat them 10-3. UAB next. South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Arkansas. Probably you could argue might be their best win. Auburn, not a good team this year.
No.
Kentucky might be their best win again. Florida, not a good team this year.
Not good at all.
Missouri, Tennessee, Charleston Southern, Georgia Tech. And then they lost against Alabama.
What was the score of that Alabama game again?
They lost 41-24.
It wasn't even that close.
Didn't feel like it. I watched the highlights of more than just the highlights. I watched 35 minutes of football of this game again today multiple times, and I see what people see. I see that there is an attacking, aggressive defense that's capable of doing some stuff. I think Alabama earned their points. I really do. I think they definitely did. But I just don't see the firepower of this Georgia team. I really don't. I don't think they have the firepower on defense or offense like Michigan has.
I think a key for Michigan is don't let it get to those third downs. That's scary. third and shorts I mean, you can manage them, but that's when a really good defense is going to step up. You know what I mean? That's going to be an interesting thing for me, is getting big enough chunk plays that you're not seeing 3rd and 4s, 3rd and 3s. Like, make it 3rd and 1s if you're going to be on 3rd down. Now, in Michigan's successful football games, they've just pounded the ball and they've wore out their opponent. That's what they do. Again, I don't know where to go.
Well, yes, that's the way they have sustained success against the other team, is pounding the ball and wearing them out, and especially second half. Hassan Haskins just dominates those games, and the offensive line dominates in their will, into the other team. That's not the way they've always scored, though. Again, they lead the nation in 50-plus yard plays.
Yeah.
Like, this is a creative offense that has the ability to put points on the board quickly. We saw that against Iowa. Iowa's a good team. We found success against Iowa for a whole bunch of reasons, but you saw the first 2 scores, they were trick plays or the creative offense type of plays.
Yeah, yep.
Right? I mean, like Blake Corum
was a big play.
Was a big play,
but
and it wasn't
like
a trick play.
But then
but then they came right back, and Donovan Edwards throws the dime, and it's just
the best throw in stride all year.
but I think Michigan has those offensive weapons that are underrated. Maybe not like first-round draft picks right now, but they're underrated collectively as a group. They're one of the best. They've earned their right to be in the college playoff as a group collectively on the offensive side.
All right. No, I agree. You ready to move, go kind of through the matchups?
Yeah, I'd like for you to structure this because I have no structure.
Otherwise, we're going to just be talking right in circles, and we don't want to do that.
Go for it.
All right, so let's start with Michigan's rushing offense against Georgia's rush defense. It's a strength on strength for sure. In 13 games, Michigan has nearly 3,000 rushing yards on about 555 carries and 49 touchdowns. Michigan ranks in the top 10 in every rushing statistic, mostly only behind the service academies. Georgia has allowed 1,000 total yards rushing and 3 rushing touchdowns all season. Only better run defense in the country Michigan played was Wisconsin, and Michigan won that game 38-17 with only 112 rushing yards on the game, but won with a stout defense and turnovers. They took advantage of a struggling offense in the moment, right? It feels very similar to that Wisconsin game. That's what I'm kind of looking at. It's all right, Georgia runs the ball, stops the run, and doesn't have explosive offense, but has the ability to move the ball, I guess.
They'll move the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that. I think that right there is a perfect example of what we're going to be seeing here. It is Michigan against Wisconsin in a lot of ways. Is the type of team we're seeing. And I think Georgia almost looks at it in the opposite way, where they look at it as, look, this is a Big Ten team that has these unbelievable rushing stats. It's just Wisconsin 2.0. And Wisconsin 2.0 doesn't work against SEC football. But what Michigan does a lot more than that. And I think that's an interesting part of this whole conversation.
I think...
Go for it.
Yeah, I think Michigan's grown up a lot since the Wisconsin game. And let's, again, remember, the reason I want perspective thinking about Michigan is throughout their season, they were not expected to beat Washington. They were not expected to beat Wisconsin. That was a surprise. They were not expected to beat all these teams that they beat early on in the year. So they've been growing up as they've been playing, and their offensive game plan has grown up along with them. So at the time, Donovan Edwards was not part of this. At the time, they relied on a little gimmicky offense with their passing attack. At the time, they were still mourning the loss of
Ronnie Bell.
Like this is not the same Michigan offense as it was against Wisconsin, and they were still able to do what they did because of the offensive line. So, with that said, this Georgia defense is elite. It's superior. It's the best rushing defense we've seen over the last probably 6-7 years in college football, for a good reason. They have really, really good, dominant defensive line rushing stoppers.
All right,
They've got the big bodies.
So real quick, I'm going to run over some numbers on the other side. Georgia's rushing offense versus Michigan's run defense. Georgia had roughly 2,500 yards on about 500 carries. The Bulldogs averaged a little over 190 yards per game. Michigan's rush defense has been a little underwhelming, ranking 21st. The Wolverines have allowed about 1,500 yards on 447 attempts. They're allowing only 122 yards per game on the ground against teams that are kind of mostly run-first teams, which is, I think, a good point look, the SEC is not, it's not, I don't know the right word. So, Georgia's run defense numbers can be skewed because you're going against not really
pass-oriented teams.
Yeah, more pass-oriented teams. The SEC's kind of changed that a little bit.
Well, I just read the schedule to you.
Yeah.
My goodness, those are not rush-dominant teams.
And they're also teams that aren't going to be able to not going to run the ball when they're down.
No, they don't get elite
by
prospects.
A couple position. Yeah, that's true there.
So, again, I want to go back to this because I don't want to ignore the fact that Georgia's defense has been one of the most dominant run defenses we've seen in a number of years. I think that is a true statement. Their defensive line play, they're giant human beings that can move people. Even offensive linemen from Michigan. Their linebackers are aggressive. They run downhill, and they're very, very aggressive. I don't think they're elite athletes. Not all of them.
Okay.
I don't think they're absolutely elite, but they're very, very aggressive, which means that they pick a hole, they go for it, and it usually works out because their defensive line have taken on 2 blocks, right?
Yeah.
So if with that in mind, I think it's very important, and I might be jumping ahead of where you wanted this conversation to go, but the key to Michigan's success with their rushing attack, they need a rushing attack to win this game. They do. We do not want to turn into a pass-heavy Ohio State type of offense that relies on the arm.
Look, we don't have a quarterback to do that.
No. Well, we might.
We don't.
Well, but
the starting quarterback is not the guy
exactly.
to do that.
So McNamara is not going to do that for us. But what we can do is be unpredictable. And what I think the most important thing with our rushing attack is that they, meaning Georgia, cannot know 100% their personnel that they need to have on the field. What I see is Jordan Davis, who is their dominant 350-pound, 6'6" defensive lineman that won all kinds of awards. He is a dominant run stuffer, and he does a great job. He does not get after the quarterback very often. They're usually coverage sacks if he does, but he also gets tired. And you saw in the Alabama game, he had his hands on his hips, standing straight up with during multiple of those snaps.
Okay.
As Alabama was snapping the ball, he was not even in position.
Ready.
He was tired. So what I want them to do is not know if he should be on the field in first down or third down scenarios. They don't know where he should be on the field or what down or what position. I don't want to be predictable 1st and 10 every time it's going to be a run, or 2nd and 6 it's guaranteed to be a run. I want them to run a creative offense. This is against Wisconsin. The reason I brought that up earlier is, or I guess you brought it up, but I think it's important to know that Donovan Edwards and his pass receiving ability was newly developed since then. So I want to use our pass attack, and I want to use our end arounds, and I want to use our creative offensive type of game plan to fill the holes, so we're not just guaranteed they can just tee off on our offensive attack, rushing attack, 1st and 2nd down early on.
Question for you, and then I want to ask you who wins this run defense against run offense matchup between the two teams, in your opinion. But my question for you regarding the Michigan side of it, is this a Haskins game? Is this a Corum game? Like, it feels like it's going to be a type game. You know what I mean? And like you already mentioned Edwards, who is kind of a good mix between the two. I don't think they're going to rely on him necessarily unless they
should
have
mix
to.
him in, though.
But is this going to be a Haskins 4.5 yards per carry, pound it out, and pick up all these short third downs? Or is this going to be like a misdirection, Corum going around wheel route, making them stretch out the field more and making those linebackers need to go sideline to sideline rather than make tackles inside the I don't think the pocket's the right word, but like between the tackles. That's the way to say it, right? It seems like Michigan has that ability to go whatever way they want, right? Let's say that they're both healthy, ready to go. They have that option. Like, which one do you think works best against Georgia's defense?
I don't know. That's a great question, and I think that's one where we wait and see. And it's got to be feed the hot hand
and
at
I
the
think
time.
that's kind of what I brought up earlier. It's like we will see it early on.
Yep.
Which one will work, what will work, what won't work.
What I think is underrated about Michigan's rushing attack is Haskins is slippery. That's the best compliment I can give him. He just, like, it is hard to stop him from moving forward. He is constantly moving forward, and he breaks a lot of tackles. And Corum's the big play guy because he makes the next guys miss.
Yeah.
He makes the safeties miss. He makes the cornerbacks miss, and he does all that.
Okay.
But I will say both of them are terrific at getting through the first level of the defense. Both of them are difficult to tackle for even defensive tackles who are there ready to make a tackle. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Georgia's key, their main players are linebackers, though, right?
Yeah, linebackers
those are the people we have
dominant.
to worry about.
Yep.
Are they linebackers to stop the run? Are they linebackers to blitz? And like, what kind of linebackers are we looking at here?
They do all of it.
Okay.
They're great in pass coverage. They're great in run defense, but they have not been tested by any team except for Alabama.
Yep.
And so the point is, I guess, is all year long we've been seeing Georgia be so good that we haven't seen who they truly are, because they haven't played anybody, but you also saw them tee off and run situations early on in downs, first and second downs. They were able to just run forward and take away all of the rush opportunities. And then third down, they were able to just drop back in coverage and blitz linebackers and do these stunt moves on the inside. And then you saw they put four guys out there. They take their big guys out, their run stuffers, and they put four pass rushers in and run some stunts and let them go after the quarterback, and they tee off on the quarterbacks.
Right.
So they are a dominant defense. I don't want to take that away from them, but I don't think they've been tested like Michigan could test them.
Do you think Michigan has the best offensive line they've seen?
Yes. No, 100% yes.
Better than Alabama?
Better than Alabama. Alabama has a great tackle, and they've got a good offensive line that's been shaky, really shaky this year.
Yeah, they have.
They have not been great.
That was
all
their
year.
best game that they played.
But I also don't think Georgia, looking at the tape, I reviewed as much tape as I could possibly see, and even in Georgia's great scenarios, Georgia just does not beat people one-on-one like Michigan's guys do on the defensive line. They win with stunts. They win with the crossing, the end around, the middle guy going around. They win with blitzes with their linebackers who are very, very athletic, and I'm saying those are the key for Georgia.
Yeah.
This is going to be a chess game of trying to guess ahead of time what Michigan's going to be doing on offense. And Michigan's ability to pick up the crazy different coverages in front seven that they're going to see from Georgia, because Georgia's going to make it confusing, and Michigan has to be able to change on the fly.
All right.
And that's the chess game. Really, it's going to the coordinators have a huge play in this game.
So
right
going
now.
back to the run game, run offense against run defense, who wins that matchup?
I think Michigan's going to win this matchup. Michigan's run offense is going to beat Georgia's run defense because they're going to be unpredictable, and I think we've seen the creative side of Michigan, and I think they're going to make it so they're going to be. It's going to be impossible to know who to have on the field when.
And it's not just run, not just handing the ball off, pitches, end arounds. It's the dump offs. It's the
5-yard dump
quarterback or the running back coming out of the backfield. Chip, get that space and turn it into. I think that's going to be interesting. And can Cade McNamara stand, potentially take that hit to make that perfect throw to the running back? I just want to look at running back. I don't think running game is fair enough, because what Michigan does is way more than just handing the ball off, pitching the ball. You know what I mean? Like it's way different than what people are thinking.
And they cannot
nationally, I should say.
Well, and Georgia cannot just say we're going to take Haskins out of this game, because I think Michigan might even have two running backs.
They
on
might
the field.
choose to take Haskins out of the game and be like, well, all right, we're going to put Corum in the game.
We're going to throw
Corum will be the snap guy.
or Donovan Edwards, and we're just going to be running routes all day on you,
throwing dimes.
And I think that's the luxury, and that's why I'm going to choose Michigan in this matchup. And it's not nationally, it's not going to be the popular opinion, because all they do is look at numbers.
Yep.
And I'm looking at ability and opportunity.
And it's not just numbers; it's reputation of Big Ten and SEC.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
Which is fair.
It's fair, but and we talked about this a little bit pre-show. Is like Michigan's run, like tell me if this is a bad example. You never really said, but like I feel like what people nationally are looking at is an absolute stout run game. and they think, oh, Wisconsin does that. Wisconsin has done that, and they have unbelievable rush numbers, but they can't throw the ball. They're not like they don't have the quarterback that can throw. They don't have the other pieces to complement the run game. This is a completely different team. This is a Ezekiel Elliott type Ohio State rather than a Jonathan Taylor type Wisconsin. If that's a fair way to look at it, is Ezekiel Elliott was the workhorse. That guy was getting so many balls. You could run that ball and pound it when you wanted to. Well, you also had the quarterback that can make that throw, the easy throw, the right throw, take care of the football, check into the right coverages, all of those.
Not one-dimensional.
It's not one-dimensional, and that's what I think nationally people are thinking Michigan is one-dimensional.
Yeah,
they are far, far from that. Do I love what Cade does? No. We talked about how.
We love that he wins.
Maybe move on.
We love that he wins, and that's about it. But no, he doesn't get enough credit for moving the ball, and he might only have 179 or 209 yards with no touchdowns by the end of it.
And 17 throws or something like that,
But
right?
we needed him throughout the game.
Yeah.
And it allows his throwing ability and his leadership and his play recognition and all that lends itself to allowing the coaches to play to call a good game, and Josh Gaddis is going to have a huge part in the success or unsuccessful attempt in this game. The coordinators, again, I think the play calling is going to have a massive say in how this game is played, because you better stay creative, because Georgia's too good to just be predictable. But if once we're unpredictable, I think Georgia is going to find themselves in a weird position they haven't been in this year. Until Alabama. And they didn't
They didn't respond well.
No. And Alabama beat them with vertical threats. That's what people will say.
Exactly.
But they attacked the middle of the field a lot. And Jameson Williams turned that into a touchdown over the middle once. But again, the middle is wide open. And what does Michigan do better than they have in a long time right now? They attack the middle of the field, and I think it's going to be
Another thing that I don't like about what we're hearing nationally is Michigan hasn't played the running backs that we're going to see in a Georgia. Ohio State has a pretty dang good running back, and they made them look so pedestrian. That running back and just that offense in general, what they did, they made it so difficult on Ohio State. Michigan's defense is just it's we don't need to get into it. Let's get into the next part.
No,
right?
Let's get into that part really quick. So this is my feeling about about Georgia's offense.
Sorry, go ahead. And then I want to. Yep, go. Don't let me forget.
Georgia's rushing attack is very good. I think their running backs are so underrated. They're very, very good, and I think they're better than what we have seen this year. And yes, Ohio State has a stud freshman running back that I think is elite. I really do. I think he's great. But we haven't seen Georgia's rushing attack is very similar to Michigan's. The difference with them, in my mind, is that Michigan thrives on their long drives and winning that way, and they put the ball in the end zone, and they know how to do that, especially in goal line situations. Georgia, when they were tested, we saw them not be able to finish those drives out, and they have that long progression, not big playability. The difference between Michigan and Georgia is big playability in my mind. So even if they rush and Georgia is successful, you're not going to be successful all the way down the field. So I think you're going to see them move the ball, but you're going to see them fall short at the end, which will turn into 3 points or 0 points if they get aggressive, or turnovers, because I think Bennett is very, very prone to turnovers, and he stares down receivers, and I think Michigan's secondary, which has just come into their own this year, I think they're going to be jumping routes.
All right.
And I'm pumped.
I'm going to save my point for a minute.
You told me to remind you.
I wrote it down, so hopefully there is enough to remind myself. All right. Michigan's pass offense against Georgia's pass defense. I'm going to go through some numbers. On 340 attempts, Michigan has thrown for about 3,000 yards and 20 passing touchdowns. Georgia's pass defense ranks in the upper echelon in every pass defense statistic. Georgia allowed quarterbacks to only 56% completion percentage and only a combined 8 touchdowns. Switching sides here. Georgia's pass offense to Michigan's pass defense. Georgia, on 350 attempts, has roughly 3,200 yards and 33 touchdowns, averaging 250 yards per game. I think we've already talked about the schedule enough. I think that kind of that plays a role in what I just went through there. Georgia's schedule is not anywhere near comparable when you're talking numbers. You got to throw numbers out the window when you're playing cross conference games and seeing this type of you just have no opponent to really say that this is the way it's going to go. Completely different scenarios here. Who wins this matchup? I guess that is where I want to go. I think we can kind of make this quicker than it needed to be.
Yeah,
right?
I think Georgia has a pretty good base of players. They get a lot of coverage sacks. That says a lot about their coverage. So Darion Kendrick is a NFL cornerback. He played for Clemson last year. He transferred. Had some character issues. I think he was arrested or something like that. But either way, he's playing the game and he's good. He's very good. So I think we're gonna have if he's lined up on Cornelius Johnson, I don't think he's gonna go off for just a crazy game. That doesn't mean that he doesn't give yards, and we'll take the yards when we get them. And I see this Michigan passing attack as maybe what we've seen in recent weeks. It's not going to be MSU where we get 300 plus yards of passing, but it could be in Iowa where it ends up being 175 meaningful yards. I think it could be the big play where we get chunk yards here and there, and it's meant to throw the defense off. But it's not going to be what we rely on to win this game. I think the creative play calling is more important than, just relying on our quarterback to make the right decision every single time. We have to scheme people open in order for this passing attack to be successful.
The coaching staff really is going to decide the better quarterback in this game. I think they're very similar type guys. They're not lighting up the world. So you look at the completions. I know. Oh my gosh, his name. What is his name? Sorry, Bennett, the quarterback for Georgia, who I think is going to start. There's still the question if JT Daniels is going to start. No,
Stenson Bennett's going to start.
Okay. Well, he has in less games 148 completions, 231 attempts, 64.1% completion percentage. Cade is 199 completions, 308 attempts for 64.6 completions. The yards are pretty similar, 2,300 to 2,400 basically. The one thing that's very interesting to me is the touchdowns. Touchdowns to interceptions, Bennett 24-7, where Cade is taking care of the football better. Not as good of late. I think he's thrown a pick in pretty much every game the last 3. 15 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Passer rating 176.8 for Bennett, 145.4 for Cade. Who is the better quarterback? Is it just are they mirror images of each other?
Yeah,
these teams are like the Spider-Man meme of pointing. The Spider-Man's pointing at each other. That's the same. That's what we're looking at here, right? Both. Is that fair?
They could be complete opposites, but yet be the same.
Okay.
For what they mean to their team, and I think that's what the scenario we're looking at here. When I watched Stenson Bennett, I just am impressed, one, with his physical ability. He throws the ball, and he's got a rocket of an arm. He throws the ball hard, and it seems to be decently accurate. He's got a cannon. It doesn't matter if he's on the run or if he's in the pocket. And the other thing is he's a great athlete. He gets out of the pocket. He's quick to run the ball. But he's also quick to throw it on the run, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that. The downfall, what I see from him, is even on his highlight reels when I'm watching 5 touchdowns against UAB, week 2 of the season, those are not good passes. He's throwing touchdown passes. Those are risky, high turnover rate type of passes, and I just question his decision-making ability. I think that's his weakness. And when he gets pressured, he still makes throws when he has no business making those throws. And so I think the difference between Cade McNamara and Bennett is that Bennett is more of a gunslinger, less confident in what he's doing when he's doing it, and Cade McNamara protects the ball more than anything else. And yes, he's made some mistakes here and there. Welcome to college football. You're going to make mistakes, but he at least cares. It seems like he doesn't make high risk throws on a regular basis, and I see Bennett make high risk throws all the time.
And Michigan's the type of defense that will either get him quicker than he needs to and cause a fumble or force a bad throw and make some plays.
Michigan's defense, and we'll probably get into that, but Michigan's defense gets pressure with 4 linemen. Mm-hmm. They don't need a whole bunch of like different blitz packages and stunting around different things. No. They went straight up. Ajaba will beat you on the edge. Hutchinson will beat you on a regular basis on the edge, and good luck because they might use the inside moves to, maybe you don't want to step up in the pocket. Like they're good enough where they can drop more bodies back into coverage, and their defensive backs and their safeties have been aggressive enough where they can. I think there's going to be some turnovers in this game. I think Michigan's going to take the ball away from Georgia.
So is Brock Bowers the tight end? He's
good.
He's the one that we got to shut down.
He's really good
to catch the ball.
Yeah.
He's the Kyle Pitts of the SEC this year.
Yeah,
if that's fair.
Yep, and he's a freshman.
He's a fresh. Is he really? Holy smokes! Wasn't he? Never mind. No need to get into that. Micah would know. I think he was actually thinking about going to Michigan, wasn't he? I could be wrong. Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
But is it just shut this guy down? You'll find a way, or do they have? I mean, Burton and Pickens, who have put up decent numbers, nothing crazy. So Pickens was injured most of the year. He only has 3 catches, 46 yards in 2 games.
Pickens is an elite NFL talent,
and that's something that but he's been hurt.
But he's
also coming off the COVID, but he's gonna play. It sounds like. Is he better than Burton, who only had 23 catches for 412 yards? Their leading wide receiver. Like what do we do here? Can I'm gonna say can Michigan's corners take on these wide receivers one-on-one that the safeties can come down and help and take out this tight end and take him out of that game? Or
yes.
How does Michigan's defense adapt to something like that? That's not necessarily high-flying, tons of weapons that you have to worry about, but shutting down the big weapon.
I don't think Georgia has a big weapon down the field because Pickens has been hurt, and Pickens is going to be running on one leg. He might come back and make one big play, but he's not going to be Jameson Williams type. That Alabama had. He's not going to be a guy that just beats you off the line. DJ Turner's trying to catch up. That's not going to be him.
Okay.
So no, Georgia does not have that guy down the field, which is why I say the bend not break scenario strategy for Michigan, because Georgia's going to have to execute all the way down the field to put up 7 points, all the way. Ohio State was a huge risk for the big playability. Alabama would be a huge risk for that big playability where they just get 7 points quick, easy.
Yep.
That's not this Georgia team. I don't think unless they do it with their running backs, they're not going to do it, in my opinion. So Burton's not a bad wide receiver. He's not going to destroy you. He's not going to beat you up. You're not going to lose to him. He's not
what we went against with Olave and the other guys that I can't even think of their names.
McConkey's pretty fast for them. Like, he can make guys miss. Yeah, he had a pretty good touchdown against Alabama. He's not reliable. He's not like an elite wide receiver in college football. Fitzpatrick, I kind of like him. Again, not elite. Brock Bowers is the key to that offense, and we have to treat him like a wide receiver, a physical wide receiver, rather than just a normal tight end that you just throw a linebacker on, because he will be all of our linebackers one-on-one. If we try to think that Colson's going to be fast enough to run with Bowers, we're going to lose that matchup. So
who wins the passing matchup? You're going to say Michigan again.
I'm going to say Michigan.
I think it is too. I know we're homers.
I think Michigan.
But I think it's there. It's real.
I think Georgia puts up more yards. I think Georgia turns the ball over.
Because they're going to have to.
I think they turn the ball over. And I think that's the reason I'm going to pick Michigan in this, because I don't think Michigan's going to turn the ball over in the air maybe once. I think Georgia could turn it over multiple times in the air. I just don't think Bennett makes good decisions. I think when I watch him, he stares receivers down the whole way. And we saw with Alabama, they jumped those routes. And I don't know, I sent you a video about one of Michigan's former coaches.
Okay.
Did you watch that one or no?
I don't remember. I watched.
It was Michigan Insider.
Oh, yeah.
So Michigan Insider, they do a great job, by the way. But they had a great preview for this. And they had a former coach on for Michigan who is a literal genius on the football side of things. I really believe that. And so I'm like, my thought process has a lot to do with listening to him and his thought process. And he sees him as a statue. That's what he said. He's a statue in there. He's staring a guy down. He's like, trust your eyes, trust your instincts, go get the football, jump the route, because it's there for the taking. And this guy will still throw the ball. It doesn't matter if you're there or not. He's going to throw the ball.
All right, I do want to take a real quick break. I'm sorry, we're going to keep this thing streaming, but I'm going to stop the recording. Sorry, I got to go to the bathroom so bad. We'll be right back. Sorry about that. For the people watching live, I needed to use the restroom, so we're going to be ready to go here soon. All right, I'm going to hit record, and we'll pick off. Do you remember what you were talking about? Besides the bathroom breaks?
Yeah, no, I was talking about Stenson Bennett and like how he stares receivers down
All right.
and all that stuff. We lost a listener or a watcher, by the way.
Yeah, I figured we would.
Just like a few hundred.
All 100 of them?
Yeah. We lost a couple hundred.
Shoot! All right. Well, let's just pretend that we know what we're doing here. I wasn't even listening to you half the time for the record because it's just like, how am I going to make this?
Thought I was making good points.
I'm sure you were. We are live on the Facebook, and we're waiting to get this recording going. All right, I'm just going to cut this. The way he throws the ball. This is how we used to do it all the time. We used to like pretend we used to make cuts.
We didn't do it live.
Stuff.
We didn't do it live.
No, I know the lives kind of hurt that
Yeah.
aspect of it. But
Yeah.
I know, but why do we do that? Like, why doesn't it matter? He's going to throw the ball. All right, so I'm going to basically...
You want me to jump in or you?
No, I'm going to jump in and be like, all right, so who... Did I already ask you who wins the matchup?
Yeah.
The throwing matchup?
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want to move on?
Yeah, let's talk about key matchups in general. You good with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right. So we've talked about the run defense against the run offense, the pass defense against the pass offense. Let's talk about individual plays here. What are the key matchups that you're here to look at? Because for me, it's Dean, the linebacker, against this running game, and in general, how can you limit this guy to be more worried about everything? I guess.
Yeah.
Because one thing that we talked about a little bit earlier when we were prepping for the show was that I brought up was how Michigan's tight ends can because tight ends play a role with linebackers. They decide which way the linebacker has to spy. And you know what I mean? Like, and if he's not going to follow if a linebacker, their stud linebacker who has tons of tackles, isn't going to pay attention to the linebacker because he's worried about the running game or the pass out of the backfield, that's going to open up That's going to open up Shoemaker, where I think
Schoonmaker,
where I think Michigan's tight ends and just the amount of different ways of beating this defense can limit where their studs are, which is linebackers. Those are their studs. Those are the people you have to worry about. You can control what linebackers have to do.
You have to control them.
You have to. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good way to look at it. And what Michigan's defense does is, look, it's edge. It's edges that cause the havoc, and you can't decide what an edge rusher is going to do because they're edge rushers. They're going to do that, right? And when you can get the pressure in the backfield, run defense, pass defense, all that, so you get that pressure without worrying about what else is going on in the field.
Yep.
That's a key. Georgia's defense, in my opinion, is good when they are controlling what the offense is doing.
Yep.
When the offense can control what the linebackers are doing, that's when you get people. That's when you can expose them. And that's when you can, maybe not expose them is the right word, but limit them. Or, man, what's the word when you like, what is that word?
I don't know. Impose their will.
No. Man, I'm going to think of it probably tomorrow.
I just think, with what we saw from Alabama is Georgia was on the run, and Michigan has to do the same thing. I don't think it's going to be the same way. It's not going to manifest in the same manner. Michigan's not going to have that downfield guaranteed offensive pass-heavy type of approach, but Michigan can achieve the same results by doing it a different way. So what I think is the key for Michigan offense, and we're going to see this early on in the game, is whether they're committed to getting the easy rush type of yards with their check down running back wide receivers, or their running backs out of the backfield catching the ball, and exactly like what you brought up, their tight ends. And we have to put these linebackers at a disadvantage and make sure that Eric All's and Schoonmaker's their athletic ability is on display, and they attack the middle of the field, and the middle of the field is going to be everything for me. I need to see that Michigan wins the middle of the field over the middle with their passing attack, and it does not need to be down the field. It needs to be in the middle, and that means their linebackers can't cheat up. And if their linebackers can't cheat up, then I think our running backs can then start filling those gaps with the rushing attack. They can actually start running through the defensive line, getting to the next level, and either running through them like Haskins does or running around them like Corum does. And I think we can win in that way. We just have to make sure that they understand that they are thinking and are aware of the fact that we are multidimensional, and our rushing attack might manifest itself in a passing way. If that makes any sense.
It does, yeah. No, I like it.
That's Michigan's matchup that I'm watching from Michigan's offense to Georgia's defense, because I'm not taking anything away from Georgia's defense, but we saw not a blueprint, but we saw what happens when you get them on the run, and their best players are left standing with their hands on their hip, standing straight up while the ball is hiked.
Do you think of no huddle offense can be a part of this game?
I was going to bring that up.
It's not the way Michigan works.
It's an approach. It's definitely something that they can implement if they feel like it's value added. I don't know if they're going to go that route, so I wasn't going to speak for the coaches or try to that. It's so hard to say like this is what I would do in this situation because I don't know the players, and you have to be in the mind of the players if they're comfortable with that and all, and so on.
Yeah.
But I do think that's an available option that they could go to, absolutely, to just get them moving. What you don't want to do is compromise your what do you call it when you your offensive ability to actually complete the game plan. It is because you're changing it up and you're putting them in a different situation.
Okay. So, I think we've talked enough. Michigan has the better offense. Is that fair?
They can. Yes. I just want to clarify, just because that's what I do. But I don't think it's as simple as that. I think Georgia, the difference between the offenses is I think Michigan will finish drives more effectively for points. They have a greater big play ability and creativeness in their offense where they have Roman Wilson and some of these other guys that can get down the field and create big plays. even though it's not just one person, but that plays in Michigan's favor because you can't just take away one person. It's more of a game plan, and it's a collective of their wide receivers. But Georgia's offense is good. They will move the ball. They will get yards. Their rushing attack will play well against Michigan's defense. But I think Michigan will be in that bend, not break. The yards will not convert to points in the same way that Michigan's yards will convert to points.
Okay.
There's a ratio there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, so it's really not as simple as who has the better offense, who has the better defense, and who's going to win this game. How important is Daxton Hill to your philosophy of the bend and not break? Because there are rumors everywhere that he tested positive and did not fly to Miami with the team. Now, there's conflicting reports that he's out. There's reports that he still has the ability to play but not practice. How important is he to what you expect Michigan's defense to work?
In my mind, extremely important.
You think he's the one that's going to take on the tight end?
Yes. I think it would be in their best interest to put Dax Hill, their most impactful, defensive, athletic. Yes, exactly. And even physical in a lot of ways. He's not extremely physical, like he's going to take somebody's head off, but he's physical at the point of attack. At the line of scrimmage, he gets in people's faces. He makes it hard on them. And we need to slow down Bowers. He's their biggest weapon on Georgia's offense. And I think we need to put in our best athletes on him. So whether that's Jimon Green, if Dax can't go, he's an option because he's a physical, athletic cornerback that we could put in that scenario. But
if we can put a safety type, use a safety to do that.
We need somebody with cover skills. So, yes, we can do a safety type, but that's why Dax is the perfect scenario with this.
Because he's a corner that has safety size and physicality.
He's a safety with corner skills. We've seen him. He's played corner all year. But
yeah, he has.
He's going to get drafted as a safety.
Yeah.
So he's a safety with corner skills, corner athletic ability, and corner coverage skills. And I think that's absolutely key in this. And Georgia is very predictable with their use of Bowers too. They go with the quick routes. They go with if there's cushion, they go right to him. And that's where I'm saying, like, if you get up, if you're physical with him, if you're at the line of scrimmage, making it hard on him, then we need the physical ability and the coverage ability to stay with him to make it difficult.
All right. So here we are. If Michigan loses this game, why did they lose this game?
I see Michigan's biggest weakness as being the same as what happened against Michigan State. I think their rushing attack, their rushing defense has an opportunity to fail. And what if you look back at Michigan State, they had missed blown coverage assignments, confusion in the backfield between the linebackers, safeties. There was confusion between the two of them, who was guarding where or who, and where they should fill the gaps. That's what you saw. You saw confusion and a lack of talking and communication between the group dynamic, and Kenneth Walker made him pay, but just using his athletic ability. And I see Michigan has grown up a little bit in that aspect. They don't miss those coverage assignments anymore. And by coverage, I'm not saying passing attack. I'm saying coverage is in filling your assigned gap in your hole. And you saw safeties and linebackers on top of each other instead of spreading out across the field, which is why those big plays happened. So if Michigan, because Georgia uses a lot of different formations on offense. They have a lot of movement, a lot of pre-snap motions and all that stuff, and they go 4 wide receivers, nobody in the backfield, and then they'll do kind of like Michigan,
jumbo
they'll do a huge
thing.
Yeah, exactly. So they're very unpredictable, which is why they're in the top 4.
Yep,
they're a great team. Michigan has to be able to react to that and communicate, and they could get lost on defense. That's how I see Georgia. If they take away Michigan's running attack, and Michigan can't get creative on offense, and maybe their defensive line absolutely dominates, then I think their rushing attack has the opportunity to destroy us through the middle.
Do you think another wrinkle, and I think that this is probably a stupid question because I think it's obvious that it's going to happen, JJ coming in this game and be the Bryce Young for this offense of maybe throwing the ball downfield, and that threat the leg threat that Cade might not have, combine that with, we've seen it a lot. And that could be another key part. I don't think we're going to see, and like, I look at, all right, man, I think Michigan's, if they're going to win this game, it's going to be doing what they do best and not wavering from it. And that's going to be my next question to you is why Michigan's going to win this game is not. But for me, it's Michigan's not going to change what they do. They didn't against Washington when people thought, oh, there's no way they're going to do what they did against Western Michigan against Washington. They did. And then you get in a Big Ten play. There's no way they're going to keep running the ball and just physically dominate another team of Wisconsin caliber. They could completely dominate that team, offensive line, defensive line. They're not going to physically dominate Michigan State. They did. I'm sorry, but they did dominate. They physically dominated Michigan State. Walker was a different story. You explained that pretty well of what happened there. They're not going to go into Ohio State and physically dominate and stick to their game plan. They did that against Ohio State. They did it against Iowa. They've done it, and that's what Michigan's expecting to do. And as long as this coaching staff doesn't waver back to let's just be smarter than them. And they're expecting this, so let's do this. No, stick to what has worked. If Michigan sticks to their game plan, and I think we'll know very early on if it's going to work. If they stick to it, that's how they're going to win this game. Yeah. And not wavering from who they are and why they've gotten there. I think when we get into the Alabama, you're going to have to waver from that a little bit more. I think this matchup works out well for what Michigan does well and is confident doing. I don't even know where I started here.
You started in a good spot.
I started with JJ, and then I moved. But anyways, what I don't know.
Number one, I think JJ could have a massive part in this game.
Yeah.
I think the worse Michigan does early on in the game, the greater likelihood he's going to be a big factor in the game. So they might jump to him if they find themselves in trouble.
Do you think they throw him in early just to say we're going to do this?
I think they
make them think about it, make them overthink about Georgia's defense.
I think they stick to their game plan. I think Michigan sticks to their game plan, which is including him, but not at an overwhelming rate.
Including him early though.
Including him early, like they have been. Yeah, they have.
Do you think we see him first drive?
I don't know. That's a good question. It might depend if they get to their third.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
First down or something.
Yeah,
so forth.
Yeah.
I think Michigan's best. We haven't really gotten too much into the defensive line of Michigan, which I think is maybe their biggest strength over Georgia. Because when I look at Georgia's offensive line, I see they've held up. They rely on Stetson Bennett's ability to move out of the pocket whenever he's in trouble. He's athletic. He can do that. But Michigan has dominated every team they've gone against. Every offensive line they've seen, they've dominated. And I think that Ohio State's offensive line is much better than Georgia's offensive line. Now, their center and their two guards are actually really solid. They're very good. They hold up.
But their tackles.
Their tackles are slow-footed, and I think that works in Michigan's favor a huge amount, because what's going to happen is I think every part of Aiden Hutchinson will be able to dominate the tackle across from him. I think he will be able to bull rush because the tackle is going to be so focused on getting his feet to the outside. Remember how early on, like when they jump out and now they're so worried about not getting beat around the edge, that's when they're susceptible up the middle of the bull rush. We've seen Aiden, his tug, his push and pull move is better than anybody in college football.
So I want to interrupt you with a question. So most of the time when you have really strong edge guys, you use your tight ends to limit them, chip them, make them uncomfortable, double team them. If you, I think chip them is the right word, right? But their tight end is a wide receiver. Can he do that and still be a threat the way that Georgia needs him to be?
No, they're going to do two tight end sets.
Okay.
They're going to use what's his name? Brock Bowers. They're going to use Bowers as a wide receiver in this game. I 100% believe that. I truly do believe it.
More of a slot-ish guy?
Even
I don't know, slots.
Yeah, slot wide receiver.
Yeah,
yep,
okay.
absolutely. And even when they are in a rush approach, I think they're going to have two tight ends so that they have better blocking. And then they run the ball up the middle. But Bowers is going to be used as a wide receiver in this game, and that's why we shouldn't treat him as a tight end. We should treat him as a wide receiver. They got another one of their tight ends healthy. I don't remember his name right now, but he came back healthy against Alabama. I think he's going to play a big part in this game as the blocking tight end. And yes, they are going to try to chip Aiden Hutchinson, but we've seen Hutchinson been able to navigate his way through multiple blocks, the chips on the outside, and then he can just beat two guys. He can beat the lineman and the running back and still get to the quarterback. But I think this plays into Ajabo's favor more than anybody. And because I see the flat-footed, slow-footed Georgia tackles that I do, I think Ajabo has a huge opportunity to be that edge speed rusher around the outside that dominates this game. I think we're going to see multiple sacks from him in this game.
Yeah, I don't even think it needs to be sacks. Because in a lot of ways what Aiden Hutchinson did, it wasn't like he put up unbelievable numbers and tackles and sacks and all that stuff, but pressures is a whole nother ball game. And that's what this defense is going to do, is they're going to put the pressure on, and they cause the bad throws. They make 3rd and 8 seem impossible because you have 2.5 seconds to 3 seconds to just hope that your first read is going to get open.
Yep.
And that's what we make it very uncomfortable. We make every inch difficult.
You have to execute every time down the field just to earn your 7 points.
Yeah.
And teams don't do that. Ohio State didn't do that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And I don't think Georgia's offense compares to Ohio State's. They just don't. And
the point that I was going to bring up earlier is if Ohio State did what Michigan did to, let's say you switch the roles completely. Ohio State lost to Michigan State in a very close game that they got robbed with a bad call. And then Ohio State went out and physically dominated Michigan, and then went out and won 40? Was it 42-7, 42-10? What was the score of the Iowa? 42-3?
Yeah, something like that.
Michigan against Iowa. If Ohio State did that to Iowa, and was heading into this matchup 2-3 against Georgia, you cannot tell me Ohio State would not be the favorite team. Switch their jerseys, switch the name. I think, most of the time, I think Michigan gets favored with their name. They do. With betting spreads and hype around the whole, you know what I mean? Nationally. Right now, I feel like the name's working against them because people aren't expecting Michigan to be well, they were unranked and did all that. They're looking at Michigan as wow, everything worked out for them very well, and they're surprising. They're playing with house money. We started this conversation with they're playing with house money, and we're just going to give them 7.5 points, and it's going to be fair. You switch the jerseys, you switch the team, name alone. It's a completely different conversation, in my opinion.
That's also because Ohio State matches what Alabama does so well. They do the vertical game, the pass heavy game.
Exciting, yeah.
And people think of Michigan as that run dominant team that just is one dimensional, and that's what they do. But again, we've seen points early on in the games with Michigan right now. They're getting ahead by using creative offensive strategy, and then later on in the game, they're wearing the teams out.
Bleed it. They just bleed them.
Georgia, as good as they are, they're never on the field. Jordan Davis is a 2-down defensive lineman. That's not going to play well over the course of a long, grueling game if Michigan can hold on to the ball. So just because they don't give up rushing yards in the scenarios they've been in so far doesn't mean that in the third and fourth quarters, if Michigan holds on to the ball and they're winning the game and Georgia's having to react and run all over the place, doesn't mean those big, massive human beings are going to be able to stay on the field and be just as effective as they are in their normal, 3-and-out scenario. It's not the same. You can't compare it that way. So I think Michigan in their defense, and just think about this: if Ajabo consistently can win around the edge, that means Aiden Hutchinson doesn't have to. That means he can play up the middle, and he can play away from the chips or on the outside, away from the running back help around the outside, and he can play to that bull rush / middle of the field game or middle of the pocket game. So when Ajabo comes around the outside, the QB steps up where into Aiden. I think
you've seen that time and time again.
I think they play to each other's strengths so well right now, and I think we're going to see.
And I think the defensive coordinator,
athletic ability.
McDonald has had a huge part of that. I think what he's done is incredible. He has made them NFL football players.
Yeah,
and that's what this defense is. It's an NFL defense, not a gimmicky we're just gonna. I don't know.
They're
what
smart.
Yeah, they're playing football.
I watched several interviews with McDonald because I wanted to get inside of his brain as much as I could. He's not going to tell me everything, obviously, just through like interviews and stuff. But what he says all the time is he went back to, when he got the job, he went back to the beginning. He wanted to build a foundation, which means knowledge. So he sat in a classroom with all of his guys and they went through like the basics of what they do on defense and what they expect from defense and their calls and their setup and their formations and all this stuff. And they spent time in the classroom first.
Yeah.
And we see that. They're disciplined. They don't give up the big plays. We didn't see that against Ohio State where they gave up these massive plays. No, Ohio State earned it every time.
Yeah, and it was 4th and 18 type plays,
but
3rd and 20 plays.
Insane catches, too. Like, they earned it. Georgia cannot make those same catches.
Nope, I agree.
They do not match up the same. Stetson Bennett does not make the same decisions as Ohio State quarterback. He's not capable of it. He will make mistakes. I think Michigan will lure him into those mistakes. And let's just say Georgia wins this game in the end. I am not saying Georgia is not a great team. They're a great team. Great team. They are very difficult, and these teams on paper are the same. And Georgia's a little bit better on paper.
On paper,
I just am seeing what I think is a different approach that Michigan has been able to overcome and accomplish throughout the year. And I think they're growing to the point where they believe in themselves. They play together.
Nothing's going to
all the cliches.
Nothing's going to surprise me in this game.
I think if you look at the schedule of Michigan, they've proven it. And if you look at the schedule of Georgia, they haven't proven anything except that they've beaten that they've lost to Alabama.
And their numbers are incredible. But against who? I think is the key. Now,
mediocre teams.
The fact that they haven't played anybody might just mean they haven't shown it against anybody.
They might show it against Michigan.
They might be really dang good.
I know.
And they might show it against Michigan, and at that point, I'm going to tip my hat and be like, hey, great season for Michigan. They weren't good enough. They weren't talented enough, I think is what it's going to come down to.
If I see that Michigan's offensive line, which really out of all the keys to the game, the offensive line of Michigan is probably
important.
The number one biggest factor of this game. If Michigan's offensive line can be good, I think Michigan has a great chance of winning. If Michigan's offensive line gets dominated by Georgia like they've dominated every other offensive line except for Alabama's, then we're going to lose the game.
Are you ready to get into predictions?
Yeah, I'm game.
All right. What do you think? What is your prediction? Final score?
My final score. Michigan scores 30 points. I know it's a weird number. 30, though. Michigan wins 30 to 18.
30 to 18.
Which is weird. Hold on. 30 to
I think that's
19.
30 to 19?
Yeah, 18 is a little bit weird.
Is it weird as 19? How
do
you get to 19?
14 and 2 field goals.
Okay, that makes sense.
Wait, no, that's not true.
No, that's 18.
I want 18. I want 18.
You want
Whatever.
You want 18?
I didn't think
Doesn't
about this
matter.
at the time.
Anyways, I'm going to say Michigan 34, Georgia 24. And Michigan's going to...
We got to pick Michigan.
We got to pick Michigan.
Screw that.
Who cares?
I think Michigan wins this game.
I do too.
I don't think it's going to be as close as people think. I think one
of the teams is going to win by double digits.
Yeah, I think it'll be close in the second half, and one team, I feel like it's going to be one of those Ohio State type of games where you know who's going to win midway through the fourth quarter.
It just matters of how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think we're going to know heading into the new year who the better team is. I hope we run into that.
We definitely will.
Well, you know what I mean. It's not like it's either going to be. I think it's going to be a double-digit victory for one of the teams, for the better team.
I agree because they're so similar. The better team will prove themselves by the end of the game, right?
Yep.
I mean, you can't just have them be exactly the same. One team is going to win. The offensive line of Michigan is either going to win the matchup or they're going to lose the matchup.
Yep. It's not going to be like a 50-50 type thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's either going to be you haven't seen anything like us or we haven't seen anything like you.
My fear is this game is going to turn into a field goal matchup. And I think if Michigan
I don't
loses,
think that's a fear. Look, I don't want field goals, but I think we have the better special teams.
We got to score 7. That's my point.
I agree with that.
We got to get touchdowns.
Sound like Trav now. Is that enough Michigan talk?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Unless you want to keep going.
No, I think we're already over 2 hours. So.
Oh, are we really?
Yeah, we still got some picks to do.
I'm pumped about this game.
Me too. I really am. I'm so excited. I'm nervous as all get out.
The last aspect are the coaches too, and I think that
who do you give the edge to for coaching?
Oh, absolutely,
is it just
Michigan.
You think so?
100% Michigan. Georgia just lost their last game. They're trying to pick their team back up and say, no, hold on, guys, you guys are actually this good. Michigan needs no convincing. They know it, they feel it. The coaches are riding a high right now. They've had all this time to prepare and look at what Georgia did wrong against Alabama, and I think Michigan, with their young, adaptive type of coaching staff, they have all the edge in the world. I think that's going to play a huge part in this game. Actually, I think Gaddis's creative ability to make something happen when their offense isn't just relying on one quarterback to do it, I think that's a good thing. They've done it all year, right?
They have. I'm so excited for this game. Is it tomorrow or is it Friday yet? Like, Friday's going to be one of the best days.
It's never.
It's just going to be a really good day. I cannot wait for Friday.
It'll be a good
Anyways,
day.
Let's get into our picks. We don't have time to explain Betting Hero. Go to bettinghero.com, put in promo code MIBETS. You figure it out yourself. If you haven't done it yet,
it's free money, guys. Go do it.
Just go do it. Anyways, last week, Micah, he went 3-4. Kyle went 5-2. Ryan, you went 5-2. I went 6-1. So we're getting really, really tight. Micah's still leading the way, 66-54 overall. Kyle, one game back, 65-55 overall. Ryan, you're only 2 behind Kyle at 63-57, and I'm only 1 behind you at 62-58. We don't have the music because we're running into some technical difficulties. You guys should just be happy you're listening to this great podcast. Let's just give it that what it is. Anyways, we're going to start with Cardinals at the Cowboys. Cowboys are a 5-point favorite. Micah, taking the Cowboys. Kyle, taking the Cardinals. Doesn't make it easy for us. What are you doing here, Ryan?
Yeah, I got to go with the Cowboys here. They've got a lot of momentum. Cardinals suck at the end of the year, it seems like. I want to pick them. I just don't believe in them yet.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cardinals. I'm going to go with the up-down theory. They've been down for, 3 games in a row. I'm going to assume that they're more of the team that we saw earlier. Cowboys don't have a lot to play for at this point, so I'm going to take the Cardinals, at least the 5 points. I don't know if they're going to win, but they're going to cover the 5 points. Next, we got Chiefs at the Bengals. Man, the music I really miss the music.
Yeah.
The music really helps.
It's not the same.
It's not. We got the Chiefs at the Bengals. Bengals +5. Micah's taking the Chiefs. Kyle's taking the Chiefs. Ryan, what are you doing?
I'm going to go with the Bengals here. Joe Burrow's coming off a huge game, and I think the Bengals have been down in the middle of the season. They're kind of looking like themselves again. Chiefs obviously look great right now, but I don't know. I think Bengals might tee off on this defense a little bit.
The 5 is tough because I think this is going to be a lot closer game than people realize, and that's way too many points. But I think it's going to be like a 6 or 7 point win for the Chiefs. So I'm going to take the Chiefs here. They're playing really, really good football. It's hard to go against them right now. Next we got Rams at the Ravens. They're both taking the Rams. What are you doing here, Ryan?
Yeah, I'll go Ravens. I don't want to. This is more of me just catching up, but I think Stafford, with the win that they just got, I don't buy it yet. Like, they didn't look that impressive.
The 3.5 is
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I think Rams, this will be their first test in a little while since they're since their losing streak.
I'm going to agree with you on this. I think Lamar's going to come back. I think he's fresh. He's healthy-ish. I don't know. I think he can make this a close game. Again, I'm not picking the winner. I'm going to take the 3.5 points for the home team.
Yep.
That's where I'm at here. Next, we got the Lions at the Seahawks. Seahawks are a 6.5 point favorite. They're both taking the Lions.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. I was hoping they were going to take the Seahawks so I could take the Lions and catch up. You want me to go first? I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I think it's going to be another close game. Why not just take the home favorite to cover a touchdown?
Yeah, I think so too. They might end up winning by a touchdown, but that would be the over, right? So
yeah,
I'm gonna take the Seahawks in this one. I think traveling out there is gonna be tough.
It is, especially with the way the Lions have been playing.
Yeah,
like very emotional,
absolutely.
There's been going through an awful lot. I don't think the Seahawks are 6.5 points better than the Lions. I really don't. But they have Russell Wilson, and he's a good quarterback. He's a smart quarterback. So
yeah, watch out for
I'll take the Seahawks.
Watch out for big plays in that one.
Yeah. Next, we're gonna jump into some bowl games. We got OK State against Notre Dame, who's a 2.5 point favorite. They're both taking OK State. I wanted to take OK State because I think Notre Dame's very overrated.
Yeah.
But I also think they could play for that new coach. And I haven't heard of any opt-outs. Where are you going with this one?
I'm going to go OK State in this one.
All right. Then I'm going to take Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I got to, right?
Yeah.
This is my chance. That's a chance for me to take it. I wanted to take OK State.
I just don't buy Notre Dame. I don't think they've really matched up well against good talent yet.
Maybe they'll win by 3. Then I'll be happy.
Yeah, there you go.
Next, we got Baylor against Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 1.5-point favorite. Micah taking Baylor. Kyle taking Ole Miss. Ryan, what are you doing?
Man, this is tough. This might be the hardest one to take to predict. I'm gonna go with Ole Miss, and I might regret this in the end. But I think they have some high end talent, especially with their quarterback. They're playing for something. I think it's more legacy type,
Yep, I actually had Ole Miss already written down as well. I'm gonna take them. They just have a way to score. Man, it's crazy.
Yeah, they'll score.
Yeah.
Yep.
And 1.5 points isn't that much. Could be a 3-point win. I don't know. Next, we got Cincy playoff against Bama. Bama, 13.5-point favorite. They're both taking Bama.
I'm taking Cincy.
I am too.
Yeah, that's a lot of
points.
Way
too many points.
Yeah, Cincy's a good team,
Cincy is a good team, and I don't think this is a great Bama team. This isn't the normal Bama team.
Yeah.
This is a Bama team that hasn't been a stout defense necessarily day in and day out, and they haven't been a great offensive line. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
The offensive line looked good against Georgia.
Looked great against Georgia.
But that was the first time they looked great. And look, I like Bryce Young-ish. It's just it's different. They're not as overly talented from that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I can't wait to see what Ahmad Gardner, Sauce from Cincinnati, the cornerback, what he does against Jameson Williams in that matchup from Alabama. I hope they just line him up on Williams all game long because I just want to see that matchup. And really that will tell me a lot about Ahmad Gardner in his draft status for next year. But that's going to be great because he is absolutely shut down. Like he hasn't allowed a touchdown for Cincinnati in like 2 years, I think. That's cornerback.
It'll be fun.
So I can't wait for that.
I think it's a much better matchup than people realize.
Well, yeah, and they really have like one of the top 3 corners in the draft, arguably number 1. They have arguably the 1 or 2 best linebackers in the draft, and they have one of the top pass rushers, probably first, second round talent pass rushers in the draft too. Like Cincinnati's got some talent. They got their guys on defense.
They're playing with everything on the table.
Yeah,
they don't give
nobody's giving them. And Desmond Ridder. I mean, if they're close in the fourth quarter, watch out because he's a gamer.
Next, we got our Sparty Party Pick of the Week back because Sparty hasn't played in 5 weeks, so people forgot about it. But pull up Sparty Party. It's a New England IPA from Big Lake Brewing with Mandarina, Bavaria, and Amarillo hops, 7% alcohol by volume. Perfect for the Thursday night football game. We got a great... Dude, are we going to hang out like Thursday, as soon as I get home from work, we're going to hang out, watch that game.
Might have to, man, all week.
That's your birthday, too, right?
Oh,
I actually have dinner plans on Thursday, but after the dinner...
28th, Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, that'd be my birthday.
Yeah, the 30th.
Yeah.
I remember.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, happy birthday to Ryan.
I wouldn't have remembered.
But anyways, I got a dinner plans, but I should be back because we're going to put the kids down. So, watch the Michigan State game.
Yeah.
And then we'll wake up, crack a beer. I don't know if there's a noon game, but 3:30. We'll just keep it conservative.
There you go.
Start drinking at 3:30. Watch the football game.
Sure.
The Alabama-Cincy game.
Sounds fun.
Then we'll turn it into Michigan, and then New Year's Eve. And we're going to have a...
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so
in
excited.
that order.
This is seriously... I like this week better than Christmas week.
I
love Christmas, don't get me wrong.
It's all part of the same season in my mind.
It is.
It's
no,
like,
well, when you have vacation between the two, of course you keep it the same season. I have to work today and tomorrow. And
I had 3 days
day.
scheduled last week, and I didn't take any of them, so I'm enjoying my time off this week.
Yeah, you deserve it, Ryan. Anyways, we are the Sparty Party Pick. Pitt against Michigan State. Michigan State is a 2.5-point favorite. Micah and Kyler are both taking Michigan State here. Who are you taking, and give us a reason?
Yeah, I'm taking State as well. I mean, I just think without
Pickett,
thank you, Kenny Pickett. I don't think Pitt stands a chance. I think they're going to be outmatched talent-wise from MSU, and I think that they're just going to pick them apart on offense, and their defense is going to hold up.
Yeah, I'm going to take Michigan State, but I'm very hesitant about it because at this point I think any quarterback can kind of pick apart Michigan State's secondary, and I'm curious to how that's going to play out without the comfort of Kenneth Walker. Again, I'm nervous about it, but
it'd be like
I think Michigan
Villari.
State should win this football game.
It'd be like Dan Villari for third string quarterback from Michigan who doesn't see time because Kenny Pickett's on the field all the time. So it's not like JJ coming in. It'd be like their third string, the guy who doesn't see the field at all. I just don't buy it. Like that's too big of a loss for Pitt to overcome in this one.
All right, next we got our Haze and Blue pick of the week, and I hope this is not the last one. Please don't be the last one. Haze and Blue is a crushable New England IPA from Big Leg Brewing, once again. It's featuring Citra and Mosaic hops and brewed with real blueberries, 5.5% alcohol volume, 20 IBUs. There's also the Big Haze out there. I haven't had the Big Haze yet, and I'm not happy about it. Siciliano's doesn't have it. I should really reach out to Big Lake and be like, dude, what the heck?
Dang.
If there's a national championship game, we need to be drinking some Big Haze.
Yeah, we need to go get it.
Right?
Or do we stick to what works?
Just other beers?
I just changed your mind.
I'm in.
We'll do it. We'll do that one before.
Anyways, we got the matchup. I'm so excited for this football game. You got Georgia against Michigan. Michigan is a 7.5-point dog. I don't think it's fair that they're a 7.5-point dog. You make this a 2-point spread, I might take Georgia just to be safe. Kyle and Mike are taking Michigan. I'm taking Michigan. You're taking Michigan according to your thing.
Yeah, there's
unless
no
you want to switch it just to
no, there's no
catch up.
chance I'm not gonna take Michigan in this game. It doesn't even matter what I feel like. This is an opportunity
This is
to
what
pick
it's
Michigan,
for,
right?
right? No, I hear you there. So those are our picks of the week. We will keep this thing rolling to our beer grades, which is from Siciliano's Market, our last one with Siciliano's. Again,
Last
if you
one.
guys know anybody that sells craft beer, let them know about the podcast. Go to Siciliano's and tell them, what in the F are you guys doing getting away from State of My Sports podcast?
If we get 150 people to go in there and say, we're never coming here again unless you sponsor State of My Sports, that would do the trick.
That would do a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys are in the area, please do that. Kurt, I'm talking to you.
No, just be
Kyle,
nice.
Jeff?
Just be nice about it.
Everybody, yeah, just
like 'em.
say, hey, just mention them. We love
Just
them.
say that, but
We're still gonna drink
keep going back.
We're still gonna pick out beer from them. So
Yeah, they're awesome.
thank you guys. Thank you, Siciliano's Market, for being part of this for the last year and a half or so. Been a fun relationship. Hopefully we can get this thing back on the rails and keep this thing rolling. But for now, it is a unsponsored segment, but it's part of the podcast.
There you go.
It's what we do.
Yeah.
We grade Michigan beers, and that's what we're doing today. Ryan, remind everybody what you're drinking and give it a nice little grade.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of information about this, but this is Eddie Van Hazy from Rockford
We also need a picture still.
Brewing Company. Did you see my last pour? It was worse than the first.
Was it?
It was bad. This is not easy to pour.
That's not good.
Yeah, but
You're
again,
only too deep.
the little slogan on only too deep
Aren't you
today.
on vacation?
Yeah, I had bourbon before this.
And wine?
No wine today.
No wine?
Yeah,
What
just
kind of
bourbon.
bourbon are you drinking?
Woodford Reserve.
Nice.
I've got some
Is that
Angels.
good?
I've got some Angels Envy.
I actually bought Micah a smoker for
really?
his bourbon. Yeah.
Ooh,
'Cause
nice.
he likes bourbon and whiskeys and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like a gun that you kind of put on top of the glass.
Yeah,
And then spray a bunch of smoke in it and
Yep.
just let it sit.
cool.
It's actually really cool.
Was it good?
It was good. It was good. Yeah.
What were you drinking?
Very smoky. No clue. He
don't
smoked it with cherry. I don't remember what it was. I had one little sip. He said he was going to pour me one, and then he never did.
Is that like do you have to like burn wood with that?
Yeah, so the kit came with like little...
Like cherry wood.
Yeah, well, it came with like, I think it was like 6 or 8 different flavors of wood,
Cool.
and then you just burn that.
Yeah. You just burn a little bit and just like shoot the gun.
Yeah, it was really
I've
cool.
seen- nice.
It was actually really cool. It worked out good. I hope he likes it.
So I've got
Actually, if he doesn't, I don't want to know.
I've got a couple of different ones.
We
We could try it on the day, the New Year's Eve.
Perfect. Let's do it.
We'll do it.
After the Michigan wins. Or
right.
during Michigan's win.
I'll just start over though. Eddie Van Hazy. This is from
I like that name.
Rockford.
It's a good name.
Rockford Brewing Company. This is a West Coast style hazy IPA, and it's worth checking out. This is pretty good. This was right up my alley. Pretty hazy, but not like I don't even know how to explain it. Just not like thick or like amber colored. It was more pale, lighter colored, hazy IPA, but very good flavor to it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this a. This is what was it? A 5.3%, I think.
Something like that.
5.6%. I'm gonna give this a 7.6.
7.6.
Yeah, good beer. Pretty average. Not like a crazy ton of different flavors, but that's kind of preferred in a lot of ways.
All right, so I'm drinking from Witch's Hat Brewing Company in South Lyon, Michigan. Deflowered hazy IPA. Very uncomfortable with this.
with giving it a grade?
This is what they say. They said it's a super delicious, which, again, I'm going to be the grade. I will do the grades. Don't tell me if it's delicious or not. It's a juicy IPA with the following hops. Yep, so many. Barley, you know it. Oats, faux show. Wheat, a little bit. Love, lots. Flour, F no. I don't know if it's F no or S no. Look, it's a solid beer. It's solid.
South Lyon, Michigan.
I don't like what you guys are doing. I'm sorry. I don't like the name Witch's Hat. I think that's a mistake. I don't like calling it deflowered. It's really inappropriate. And I don't know. It's disappointing. The beer was good. I'm not happy with it.
Are you going to grade the beer based off of the flavor of the beer, or are you going to grade it based on the can and the descriptions?
I'm going to grade it based off my feelings of
overall
everything.
Yep.
I'm going to go with a 7.1.
Okay. Fair enough.
I need to hear a little more about what you guys are doing.
Yeah, you do you.
I could read what it says about why a bat, but I don't need to do that. At least on air. I'm going to do it after the fact, and then maybe I'll change my opinion, and I'll let you guys know.
And that's
next
the
week.
name of the brewery, Witch's Hat Brewing?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Is it just like October themed all the time?
I don't know. I mean, it's not an Oktoberfest or anything. It's just, I think they're just, I don't know.
They
We don't need to get into it.
Love Halloween.
I guess, yeah. I hope that's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not drinking some potion or something. That's messing with me for the rest of my life.
We'll talk off air.
I went there. I guess I probably shouldn't have.
I like it.
Usually this is where we get the outro music going. But actually, you want to do it?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, turn your volume up.
You got to tell me what it is.
Anyways, that was episode either 136 or 137 or maybe 138. I don't know which one. But thank you guys for watching live. Thank you guys for listening after the fact. Thank you for recording. We'll talk to you next week after Michigan, if not sooner. Missed it.
You've been listening to State of My Sports. From the Red Wings to the Lions, to the Tigers to the Pistons, to Michigan and Michigan State, and everything in between, we're talking about it. And don't forget the beer. We hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. In the meantime, hook up with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at State of My Sports with an MI. We'll see you next time.